Black Alpha Network. Home of Black excellence. Power to the people.
So there's always that one slave that gets spoiled by master so that he could deliver all the slaves, but he's the only one that benefits from it. You understand what I'm saying? So everyone lives vicariously through that one slave because they think they could get what that one slave has. But the reason why that one slave has those things is because he sold out every other slave. You understand what I'm saying? So he is in the house and he's humbled. He's always kissing a ring, but in return, he has all the other slaves kissing his ring or their ring. And that's really how the world kind of works traditionally.
One love, family. Certified salute. There's only one time, everybody, and that time is right now. Yesterday isn't here anymore. Tomorrow isn't here yet. So today is the day that you got to make it. Today is the day that you got to get it. And today is the day that you got to strive. And we're going to do all of the above. Certified Black Society style, because this is certified season and it's certified Black Society against everybody. And we win. Knockout. Family, before I go any further, let me say this right here, right now. I want to thank from the bottom of my American Freedmen soul, everybody who supports the Black Alpha Network, all of my riders, and everybody specifically who has supported the Cash App. I appreciate you. I appreciate you so much. I mean that on everything that I love. I wish I could say everybody's names individually, but I won't do that. But let me tell you something. You know exactly who you are. You know exactly who you are, and I appreciate you with everything. Because in this world that we live in, and this world and everything that we got to go against to be able to stand and support our brothers and sisters, that means everything to what we're trying to accomplish, and that means everything to us getting what we deserve. So I 100% thank everybody who supports the Cash App, all the nice things, all the most amazing words y'all tell me. I'm telling y'all, I got the most realest, most loyal, most passionate subscribers out there. And I put my subscribers against anybody's, any day. That's how much love and respect I have for y'all. And let me let you know, I know exactly who you are. I see who you are. I love you. I respect you. And this certified salute right here from the Black Alpha Network goes over 1 trillion times because y'all mean so much to me and you are the backbone of this family tree. So with that said, my family, let's do what we always do. Let's go to work right now. All right, the family is in the building today. Yes, indeed we are. Make sure you smash that like button and share this video all the way around the world. Much love and appreciation. We gonna cook. Yes, we are. And I'm gonna say it like this. I am going to give my 100% unequivocal, direct, foundational Black American energy. And y'all know I got a lot of energy. I'm going to give all my energy and I'm going to represent this family to the highest fashion because that's what it's all about. Representing ourselves, representing our lineage, heritage, and culture, and letting the whole world know that foundational Black Americans don't fuck around. And if you fuck with foundational Black Americans, you gonna fuck around and find out truth. Peace, war, and reparations, family. And I say peace, war, and reparations because that's exactly what it is. This is an anti-Black race war, so we gotta have warriors. We gotta have sister warriors. We gotta have brother warriors. When you turn on your TV and you look at the 1970s and you seen our sisters with them leather coats and them afros and them things in their hand, and they was letting everybody know you weren't gonna fuck with us, that's the type of energy we need. Big facts. I'm talking about the Sada Shakurs. I'm talking about the Kathleen Cleavers. I'm talking about the Harriet Tubmans. I'm talking about the Auntie Pollys. I'm talking about that type of certified sister. When you turn on your television, you see them brothers with them things in their hands. I'm talking about the Fred Hamptons. I'm talking about the H-Rap Browns. That type of brother. Let me throw in Tupac Shakur too, because I love some Tupac. But yes, that type of energy, that warrior class. The warrior class never disappeared. The warrior class never went away. They just took it off of television. That's it, that's all. But out here in these streets, in the real world, I see it. And a warrior doesn't just have to be a warrior on that military battlefield. A warrior can also be a warrior in the social world. A warrior can be a warrior in the political world. And most importantly, right here for us today, we have to have warriors in the reparations movement. I need all my reparations warriors. Where you at? Call to action. Yes, this is a call to action, and I'm gonna say it off top, directly. We have to take command over our own reparations. The fix is in, the twist is in. They trying to throw salt in the game. They trying to spin us around. They trying to give our money to every single group on the planet. Literally, they're giving our reparations money to people who aren't even American. You understand where I'm coming from? Now you're starting to see the Biden administration is apologizing for slavery to the Africans. They're not apologizing for slavery in the form of cash payments to foundational black Americans, the people with the only legitimate reparations claim on the earth. No, when it's us, it's HR 40, it's a study. When Joe Biden said this.
He knows there are two basic steps here. One step is you must take back the streets. And you take back the streets by more cops, more prisons, more physical protection for the people. So I hope this crime bill, when it passes, the Biden-Hatch crime bill, as it becomes law, God willing, I hope that we will have ended, once and for all, this notion that is a hangover from the 60s, that somehow Democrats are weak on crime and Democratic presidents are weak on crime and Republicans are tough on crime. The truth is, every major crime bill since 1976 that's come out of this Congress, every minor crime bill has had the name of the Democratic senator from the state of Delaware, Joe Biden, on that bill.
Yeah, but for the Africans, now they're apologizing to them and they're investing billions of dollars. Yes, they are.
My friends, I'm honored to host you all here in Washington for the U.S. African Leaders Summit. It's wonderful to spend time with you and your spouses last night at dinner, and I truly enjoyed it, and thank you for making the time. Today, I'm looking forward to hearing more from all of you about the issues and priorities that matter most to Africa and how we can deepen our cooperation. And I emphasize cooperation. Our nations have worked closely together for a long time. We've improved the lives of countless people in all our countries in meaningful ways on both sides of the Atlantic.
Yeah, your nations have worked together for a very, very long time. It's called slavery because you are the slave master and they are the slave trader. See, family? Receipts. He said it. That's not us making it up. That's not us lying. That is him saying it out his own mouth. When you read between the lines, you see the facts. And the fact is, he said, our nations have worked together for a long time. And we all know that goes all the way back to slavery. The dominant society, massa, and the African trader. Point blank. This is what you're seeing. Not to mention the billions of dollars for the Ukrainians. Not to mention the billions of dollars for the Mexicans at the border. Not to mention the billions of dollars for the Afghan refugees. Not to mention the billions of dollars that go to the Indians for reparations. But yet foundational black Americans are still being strung along. We're still being played with, con game, and good old fashioned lied to. And we ain't on that time. We ain't on that fucking time. Straight up and down. If they think they're gonna pull that on my certified brothers and sisters out here in this FBA Freedmen family tree, ain't happening. What do we see, family? When you look at this reparations movement, the main thing that you see out here are brothers and sisters who are regular people. Folks who are not politicians. Look who's at these reparations task force. Look who's out there. You seeing your average, regular, everyday mothers and fathers, brothers and sisters, aunts and uncles and cousins. You're not seeing no politicians represent us. Every single black politician could sit in on these reparations panels and talk that real talk. They decide not to. They decide to say, we don't know. Why y'all fucking with me? I've been pushing HR 40 since 1929. Because that's how long HR 40's been there. They're coming up with a bunch of bullshit distractor policies so they can take our eyes off the prize. So instead, my brothers and sisters, all of you, me, our whole family, we're the ones going out here making the phone calls, gassing up our cars, driving from county to county to state so we can sit in and put our eyeballs on these reparations panels, because if we don't show up, they're going to give that money to everybody else, because that's exactly what they're already trying to do. So yes, family, this is peace, war, and reparations. I need all my reparations warriors, and we are going to create our own reparations task force. That's what it is. We're going to make a Freedmen reparations task force. Not a Republican, not a Democrat, not a Greens party, not a purple party, not a yellow party, not an orange party. Fuck no. Foundational Black American Freedmen Certified BLACK. That is it. That's what I'm interested in doing. That's what we need to create. And I need to hear the family's opinion. I want to hear everybody's thoughts. DM me. Let's get together. Let's work. Let's go. Let's build, y'all. Let's put our brains together, family, because we are in the 11th hour. This is the most defining moment. This is, as I said, yesterday gone, tomorrow ain't here yet. There's only one time, and that time is right now. Look at your phone, look at your clock, look at your watch. Does any of your watches say tomorrow? Do any of your watches say yesterday? Do any of your watches say the civil rights era? Does it say Reconstruction? Does it say slavery? Or does it say right motherfucking now, this second, this moment in time? And this is the moment in time that we all exist in, so we got to get it done. We got to get it done. This era that we are all partaking in, this journey we walking in, we stand side by side, the whole family tree. It's reparations over everything. About us in our hands. So we have to form our own reparations task force, whether that be us out there in the streets, whether it's us making phone calls, whatever we got to do. We know how to get it out the mud, family. We know how to get it out the mud. We know how to do things unconventionally too. You feel me? When foundational Black Americans put our minds together and we go to work, we'll change this whole world. As I say, that's certified 100. So fuck what everybody's saying about they gonna get weave and they gonna get Jordans and Nikes and music. Man, I don't give a damn about none of that. I do know one thing. Our certified 100 to make it happen. We'll get that money, we'll spin it, flip it, and twist it. But guarantee when it lands, you're going to be talking about businesses, institutions, infrastructures, warehouse, manufacturing. We will put our print on everything. Hell, our print's on everything already. So what happens now when we put that print with a couple trillion behind us? You understand? And the reparations movement is all about us. See, we cannot allow nobody to sit in on our reparations panel. The dominant society will never put anybody on a reparations panel that is pro-reparations for foundational Black Americans. Let me say that one more time. The dominant society will never put anybody on a reparations panel that is pro-reparations for foundational Black Americans. They will put anti-people on a reparations panel just to make it look like they tried, they cared. Have y'all ever seen a panel or a committee that was anti the people they were trying to help? You only see that with us. You'll never see a panel about money to Ukrainians where people are arguing against giving money to Ukrainians.
Today, the Pentagon announced the largest single military package yet for Ukraine. The U.S. is pledging another $1 billion in rockets, ammunition, and other equipment.
You'll never see a panel about open immigration where you'll see people on the panel arguing against open immigration.
Authorities say there is a surge of migrants making their way across the U.S.-Mexico border. Nearly 2,400 people tried to enter the country through El Paso, Texas on Sunday alone.
And now this comes as Title 42, the policy put in place under former President Donald Trump and used to deport migrants during the pandemic in large numbers, is set to expire next week. What is the migrant situation like in El Paso right now?
Anne-Marie, Vlad, I have landed in many Texas cities, and I hadn't seen anything like this. And I talked to people who work at the airport. They were telling me it's like nothing they've ever experienced. Officials here in El Paso also tell us that there are between 500 and 600 people on any given night camping out at the airport. That's just the airport.
You'll never see a panel about foreign aid where people are arguing against foreign aid. Hate crime laws for other groups. The right for two people to get married for other groups. Stimulus, allowances, subsidies, investments for any other group goes right on through. For foundational Black Americans, they literally purposely plant anti-foundational Black American people on these panels, and they just sit there and say no, 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 no. And they put up hurdle after hurdle after hurdle, and they give every single reason why it shouldn't happen, or why it should take 300 fucking years to where we're all gone, or they're there to reduce it basically to crumbs. So if they can't give us the whole $1 trillion, let's give them 3 pennies. If we can't give them the whole law, let's just give them a paragraph. They won't even give us a paragraph. They'll give us fucking 3 words and be like, okay, you can't get none of this section of the law, none of that section of the law. We're going to go give that to this group over here. We're going to go give that to the POCs. But what we can do for Black folk, we can give y'all that 3 words right there, that half a sentence. That's what y'all can get, which ain't shit. They try to crumbify every law that is for foundational Black Americans while everybody else gets the full plate. You understand what I'm saying? And anytime we create that full plate, they take everything off the plate and give it to everybody else and still leave us with the crumbs. That trick to leave foundational Black Americans with crumbs is old as Methuselah. Old Southern term right there, family. If y'all know old as Methuselah, you got you a Southern grandparent, as we all do. Old as Methuselah. That's exactly what they've been doing and they've never stopped. Why you think HR 40 is older than all of us? They damn near wrote HR 40 when Abraham Lincoln was alive. That bill old as fuck. It took somebody to go into the basement, underneath the basement, get a shovel, dig in the ground into a secret little fucking chest, pull out 20 goddamn files, and then they found HR 40. That motherfucker got cobwebs and dust all on it. You can't even read the motherfucker. They had to put it under a goddamn microscope. That's how old that shit is. But yet they sell it to us like it's something new, it's something for the people. Man, they not serious. All these little task force that you running around here, you seeing, we got to cancel that shit. We got to cancel it. We cannot sit back and wait for our reparations to come by any of these Democrat or Republican sponsored task force. We have to have a certified black society task force, and that is me and you and all of us. And until we have a task force that is about me, you, and all of us, we ain't never gonna get reparations. So family, we got to take command, we got to take control, and we got to take that shit. As I always say right here on the Black Alpha Network, we got to let them all know that they got two choices when it come to us. They gonna give that shit up, and y'all know what come next, or they gonna get that shit took. And that has to be the mentality that we have, and then we have to match our action with that mentality. Meaning, if they try to give us these form of reparations, we say no, we want our form of reparations. If they try to say y'all can have this style of reparations, we got to say no, we want our style of reparations. And if you do not give us our style or our form of reparations, you gonna get that shit took. Snatch it right out of their fucking hand. That's how we got to do it, because we can no longer allow these people to maneuver around us. We know the play. Come on, family. Anybody who understands supremacy knows what it is. Quote to Neely Fuller, if you do not understand supremacy and the way it works, everything else will only confuse you. Now add supremacy and reparations to the same sentence and you got even more confusion. So we are very, very, very aware of exactly what they're going to try to do. They're going to make it look like they fought so hard for it, and then they're going to try to stall us out. Trust me, if you got a child right now that's 5 years old, that child will be 35 years old before they ever finish these bullshit ass task force. Yes, I promise you that. How do you know? Because that's the same shit they did with HR 40. Trust me, nothing's new under the sun, and there ain't nothing new with supremacy. All they do is they run that recycled, tired ass supremacy over and over again, and black folks fall for that shit over and over again until we show up. It takes a motherfucker to say, nah, I seen that before, try again. It takes a motherfucker to show up and say, you ain't running that game on me. Try again. It takes somebody like all of us to see the games, to stop the games, and prevent the games. You can see it all day long. You can see supremacy and all the tricks of supremacy, but if you don't do something to stop it, then you ain't doing shit. Point fucking blank. And we got to make sure that these task force are commanded by us, whether we show up to these motherfuckers or we create our own. I say, let's create our own and show up to the motherfuckers. Let me tell you something. You don't leave no stone unturned. Multitasking is something that foundational black American freedmen do very, very well, okay? All right? We just kind of built a whole country in the middle of oppression. We just generated all this wealth in the middle of slavery. We just built this whole infrastructure in the middle of picking cotton. So if you can create a whole country in the middle of oppression, you can generate all this wealth in the middle of slavery, and you can build a whole infrastructure in the middle of picking cotton, then you can run up on these reparations task force and run their ass off the block and at the same time get the check. Certified. Damn, we are cooking today. Make sure you smash that like button. We are going all the way in. Family, family, family. We know for sure that the very fact that they're speaking about reparations is because of the black grassroots, right? Well, the very fact that they're going to give us reparations is going to have to be because of the black grassroots. We cannot just create the narrative and then let the system take control after that. No, we have to create the narrative and control through the whole system. Every aspect of reparations, we have to be present in. Our faces have to be seen. Our voices have to be heard. If you sit back and you allow Clyburn, Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, whoever the hell they pull off the streets to be the main people who control our reparations, you're going to get that all life's reparations. It's going to go to everybody else. They're going to put a different name on it, a spin on it. They coming up with some bullshit right now as we speak. Trust me, they not sitting on them panels. They not sitting backstage coming up with means on how they can give us real reparations. They're trying to figure out every watered down, sugar-coated, twisted, tainted version of reparations they can possibly find. And we know that. And since we know that, now we can combat that. See, when you understand the whole game and you understand who you dealing with and the type of time they're on, then you can come up with a counter system for everything. Back in the old days, as I'm always alluding to, folks didn't understand supremacy. They thought supremacy was their friend. Hell, they didn't think supremacy existed. Matter of fact, a lot of black folks thought black people were the racists. They were running around saying it's really us now. Don't be mad at them. We's the one who give them some bad time. They not all bad. If we just got it together, we our own worst enemy. See, that type of shit right there is why reparations were never spoke of. Now, the very fact that we speak about reparations and we push reparations, it all starts with us identifying. I'm always speaking right here on the Black Alpha Network about how self-identification is the biggest thing. You are not on code until you self-identify. See, the reason why the code was never in effect, or the code was like underground and a lot of people didn't really abide by it, that's because motherfuckers didn't know who they was. They was running around here saying, I'll tell you who we really is. We's the Africans Americans. That's who we are. Jesse Jackson told me I was, so I have to be one because you know Jesse would not lie to us. Y'all remember that bullshit? And once we start regulating and canceling all them suckers, then we start putting some real heavy hitters in place, then things got done. So we self-identified. Once we self-identified, we understood who we were. Then it's time to get to the bag. Yes, it is. When you go get your paycheck, you got to have a name on that check. You feel me? When you go get a credit card, a debit card, whatever, anything that got something to do with money, you got to have a name on that shit. Money and your name are synonymous. You cannot separate the two of them. So the very fact that reparations never came up is because motherfuckers didn't even know their own name. They was running around here saying they was POCs, Africans Americans, minorities, black and browns. Well, who the fuck gonna cut a check for the black and brown? Who the fuck gonna cut a check for the people of color? I don't know nobody, but I'll tell you what, they gonna have to cut that check for foundational black Americans. They gonna have to cut that check for Certified American Freedmen. Oh yes, they will. So it started off with identification. Identification came regulation. Regulation came separation. Separation comes reparations. When you put all four of those together, and I don't give a damn what order, but you got to make sure identification is number one. If you identify and then you separate, cool. If you identify and you regulate, cool. If you identify and you get reparations, cool. But make sure you do all four of them. But it starts with knowing thyself. And goddamn it, we know exactly who we are. We know exactly where our lineage is. We know exactly our heritage, and we know exactly what our ancestors had to go through, and we stand on their shoulders, and we will make sure that they get atoned for every goddamn thing. Every penny, every quarter, every nickel. Everybody will bow down to foundational black Americans. You will not fly over here and think that you're going to get what our ancestors created. Family, we all got something that irritates us. We all got something that hits a goddamn nerve, and I think we can all say the fact that anybody can fix their tether ass teeth and spew out some terms that they built this country and talk over our ancestors is a big motherfucking problem. The very fact that anybody can say that their ancestors are really our ancestors is a big motherfucking problem. And the very fact that people can say, get over it. Yeah, that part right there. Everybody else is never forget. Everybody else is never again. But when it comes to foundational black Americans, it's get over it. See, what they've been trying to do, they've been not only trying to erase us in the present, they've been trying to erase our ancestors in the past. That's why I say this era right now is very prominent, very potent, because what we've been doing is representing foundational black Americans, past, present, and future. Yes, the very same time that race soldiers are out here harming our brothers and sisters in the street, a Tatiana Jefferson, Sandra Bland, Breonna Taylor, the very time they're doing that to us in the flesh today, they're also trying to erase our ancestors of yesterday. Yes, they are. That's why every single moment you see somebody trying to slowly put their name where foundational black American belongs. Every single moment you see somebody slowly trying to put their ancestors where foundational black American ancestors stood. And we got to the point we said none of that. All the slave movies that they present, all the fake ass cast and these fake ass actors that don't know nothing about our lineage, heritage, and culture, ain't got a leaf on our family tree, but yet they want to come over here and act like they represent the whole goddamn family. Hell to the no. So the regulation process kicked fully in, and we kicked everybody fully the fuck out the house. And now we get into it. So therefore, we understand everything, the way it operates and the way it functions. Foundational black Americans know that our ancestors, if we do not hold them down, if we do not represent them, if we do not keep their legacy alive, I'm telling y'all, they will say that foundational black American ancestors did not exist. They will say that our ancestors here in these 50 states really were people who came from South America. Yeah, it was really black and brown people who built this country. It wasn't the black slaves. Nope. It was the people of color slaves. No one wants to talk about that side of history. Y'all already know. Y'all can see the fucking articles. Y'all can see the fake ass documentaries they gonna make. They gonna get some fake ass historians. They gonna get some fake ass scientists, some fake ass people, and they gonna sit there and have a whole goddamn documentary about how it wasn't black slaves who built this country. It was POCs. And then they gonna take the pictures and they gonna slowly change the colors. They gonna take the lineage and they gonna slowly erase it. Y'all know what the fuck it is. We seen them do it before. Because when you understand supremacy, everything works for you. And when you do not understand supremacy, everything confuses you. And we ain't confused. We on point, on game all the time. So therefore, the fact that we see how they're trying to erase our ancestors and they're trying to put in someone else's ancestors, why y'all think they're doing that, family? Why y'all think they're doing that? They're doing that so they can take those people and give them our reparations. Reparations was the biggest game changer in the 21st century. Trust and believe. When foundational Black Americans said we are on code now, and not only are we on code, we want the motherfucking money that is owed to us. When we started saying them weren't people of color, minorities, and none of that shit. They weren't black and brown. Them were foundational Black American freedmen who built this country. They built that goddamn White House. They built this whole fucking infrastructure. They built the fucking treasury. They built the goddamn state capitol. Every single thing that you see has foundational Black American fingerprints on it. Our ancestors, nobody else. And you're not going to misrepresent them the same way you're not going to misrepresent us, the same way you're not going to misrepresent this whole goddamn family. Now what? Family, I'll tell you what. Motherfuckers got scared. Motherfuckers got shook. They started hiding, running into rooms, having secret little fucking meetings, and they said, how can we disrupt their reparations? How can we give it to everybody else? See, we tried to give it to the people of color. FBA said, hell to the no. We tried to give it to the minorities. FBA said, hell to the no. We tried to give it to the Black and browns. FBA said no. They went through every single immigrant group right here in this country and tried to offer them our reparations. Why do you think that they were on every single panel? Why do you think that they were in every single committee? Motherfuckers didn't even speak English. They was in there saying, I believe that reparations should not be for Black people, not the slaves, not the freedmen, none of them. Reparations should be for all the people of color. Y'all know what the fuck I'm talking about. Y'all know what the fuck I'm talking about. We sat back and watched it. Family, this is all going on now. We ain't watching no fucking documentary from 60 years ago saying, damn, that was fucked up. No, you turning on your motherfucking TV and you watching this shit live. You going to your timeline, you watching this shit live. We sit back and watch these motherfuckers try to erase our ancestors and try to put in somebody else's and give them our money. We seen these motherfuckers try to slide them onto our panels. Hell to the no. And what we do, we created our own Certified Freedmen Task Force, which is street justice. And we went to every one of these motherfuckers and we said, no, lineage based. That was the term. Lineage based. We created that the same way we created everything. That's why I say we fresh. The Black grassroots is on it. Boule is gone. You understand? People of color don't exist. It's all about the Black grassroots. The Black grassroots in this country is the most freshest, dominant thing going. Everybody wants to be like us. They want to walk like us, talk like us, act like us. Every single piece of foundational Black American freedmen in the Black grassroots runs this bitch. Yes, they do. Motherfuckers is dressing like us. We got a style. Motherfuckers is talking like us. We got a style. They moving like us. They thinking like us. They trying to operate like us, but they can't beat us because we too fly and they don't qualify. Y'all know what I say. I say it one more time. We too goddamn fly and they don't qualify. So you can try to be like Freeman all goddamn day, but you never can. Your hands don't reach that high and your hands can't pick it up. Guarantee that. So when you look at the terminologies, the wordplay, the energy, the frequency, the vibe, that's all based on us because we knew they outdated. And that's why they outdated asses is gone. That's why we in full control. So we started to hit up every single one of these reparations panels. We started to go everywhere to all these cities. Brothers and sisters was teaming up, gassing up. You got 5 on the gas. I got 5 on the gas. We'll take 10 and we'll drive to this motherfucker and we'll come up with another 10. We'll gas back the fuck up and we'll go further. They can put gas prices at $1 billion fucking dollars. We was going to find that goddamn money and we was going to drive to these goddamn panels and these reparations committees and we was going to talk. We was gonna let it be known. They was not gonna take our reparations and put in a spokesperson. Weren't we just talking about these butter biscuit Van Joes? Yeah, all the Van Jones and the Charles Barkleys. They said, let's go give them these fake spokespeople. See, when you see Van Jones apologizing on behalf of Black people, Charles Barkley apologizing on behalf of Black people, Stephen A. Smith, that's not just motherfuckers being butter biscuit banjos. Nah. They were trying to create an atmosphere to where other people were spokespeople for foundational Black Americans, because if they can put a spokesperson on TV who apologizes, they can put a spokesperson on a reparations panel to collect our money. You see the difference? Y'all see where I'm going at with this, right? You see exactly where I'm headed. Be cautious of the spokesperson they put over here, because the spokesperson they put over here, they're only putting him there so they can put a spokesperson where our money's at. Yes, they want to create that whole play. You know, so-and-so represents Black folks in the political world. So-and-so represents Black folks in the social world. So-and-so represents Black celebrities. So-and-so represents Black jobs. And so-and-so represents Black folks when it comes to reparations. Nah. That motherfucker, that motherfucker, that motherfucker, and that motherfucker don't represent foundational black Americans, never, not at all. We represent foundational black Americans, and that's the way it's gonna be. The only way, for us, by us. Reparations for American freedmen, reparations created by American freedmen, and reparations only for American freedmen. See, nobody else has to do this. Y'all see all the shit that they try to put in front of us. This is what we talking about. This is why we got to grab this shit. No motherfucking games, no compromise. Not at all. As much as they trying to steal our reparations, that's as much as we got to demand our reparations. As much as they trying to take our reparations, it's as much as we got to snatch our reparations. No matter what it takes, that bag got to come over here. Straight up and down, as our brother Malcolm X say, by any means necessary. Not by yes we can, not by good trouble, by any means. That's the way we got to approach it. And once you got that approach, it's all in. It's all the way in. See, you'll never see another group out here having to specify it's only for us. You don't have to do that. Every other group, by the time that pen hits paper, it's already known, guaranteed, and promised it's just for them. You'll never see the Ukrainians saying all these billions of dollars in foreign aid, it's only for us, right? Can we keep it? It's already understood. It's just for them. You'll never see any of these immigrants saying sanctuary cities and DACA is only for us. Can we keep it? It's already understood. It's just for them. You'll never see the Afghan refugees talk about the Airbnbs they living in. That's just for us, right? Can we keep it? Can we have it? It's already understood. It's just for them. You'll never see these other groups who get hate crime laws passed. You'll never see them. Do we got to share it with black folks? Nope. It's already understood. It's just theirs. But when it comes to us, foundational black Americans, we got to fight hard just to get a law. And then we got to fight double hard just to keep the law. And then we got to fight triple hard so we don't have to share the law. So either they don't do it, they do it and take it away, or they do it, take it away, or share it. All of that shit. But it's never understood it's just for us. And that time has changed. That motherfucking time has changed because we're going to make sure that everything that gets written that's got our name on it is going to be only for us. Foundational black Americans only, no trespassers. As we always say, that door is closed, locked, shut. Titanium double bolts on that motherfucker. Can't nobody come in our house. Because the days of walking in our house, walking through the living room, tracing dirt and mud prints all on the carpet, kicking the dog, kicking the cat, walk right into the refrigerator, open the refrigerator, take what belongs to us, walk right back out the house, trace mud back again through the house, kick the dog again, kick the cat again, and then take that shit back home across the street to your family and feed your people and put that shit on their plate. Them motherfucking days is over. And we letting the whole world know it by our action, not by words, by our action. So when we say we really out here in these streets, when we say our brothers and sisters are galvanizing and mobilizing, they genuinely, sincerely are. Look at this year alone, family. Look at Mason, Tennessee. Our brothers and sisters was active. Look at Jackson, Mississippi. Our brothers and sisters was active. Look at the midterm elections. Our brother Marcel ran up on Raphael Warnock. Our brothers and sisters in Atlanta ran up on Stacey Abrams. Mr. Mr. Nigeria Godfrey, he may not like it, but fuck him. They're going to have to see us, they're going to have to witness us, and they're going to have to feel us. Because foundational black Americans, we letting our presence be known. Bet that. And one thing that you can also bet is that we've been focused, very focused, laser focused, super sharp. And that's exactly what you got to do. The ability to strategize and analyze has been the most significant thing going on. Black folks back in the old days, they did not strategize. They didn't. They had no fucking plan. You got to have a plan to be on code. They didn't have a plan or code. They were just winging it every fucking day, freelancing. They had no objective. We have an objective. That's why this era has done more in the last 5 years than they did in the last 50. That's because we have a plan and we analyze everything. If you come at us with some bullshit, we're going to see your play. We're going to exchange notes with the family, and then we're going to go ahead and cancel that shit. It's easy work. It's very easy work. When you got so many intelligent people like we got, man, this shit is easy. We got all the minds and intelligence to break anybody who throws something at us, and that's exactly what we've been doing. Let's go back to the reparations panels. Family, the first thing they said is, we're not going to address reparations. They didn't want to talk about it, and we made them table that issue. Oh yeah, it was because of us. I don't want to hear anybody out there saying that they put the reparations conversation on the table other than the black grassroots. The boule did not want to touch it. The black mainstream did not want to touch it. The dominant society did not want to touch it. POCs, minorities, no other group want to touch it. We were the only ones who kept this conversation alive. We are the only ones who brought this conversation to the table. And I'm not just talking about on the outside of the table. We put that damn conversation in the middle and we said, what about reparations? Address reparations. Talk about it, speak about it, or have to deal with us. And now you're starting to see it. Family, you're having presidential campaigns where they have to address reparations. Y'all know goddamn well that would have never happened. If you don't believe, go back and watch the last 15, 20, 30 presidential candidates or presidential debates. No one even mentioned reparations. Hell, they didn't even mention black people, let alone reparations for foundational black Americans. They never did. It's because nobody was pressing the issue. They was running around here talking about pick up your pants, turn that hip hop music down, everything other than reparations. I mean, family, let's be real. You had black folks that would rather talk about Selma in 1960, whatever the fuck, more than they were talking about reparations of today. You had black folks that were willing to talk about integration rather than reparations for today. They will run that little game. Oh, it was so bad for me. It was so wrong what we had to deal with. What about reparations? Well, we beyond that now. That's exactly what the fuck they always did. Reparations was never a conversation. And it's sad that brothers and sisters today that could been them motherfuckers' great-great-grandkids did more for the reparations issue than they did. And these motherfuckers as old as dinosaurs. Hell yeah, they're as old as dinosaurs. Because when it came time to address the real issues that were going on that we were all living and suffering from as it was occurring, they didn't want to talk about it. They skipped over the crack epidemic and talked about 1960. They skipped over mass incarceration, talked about 1960. They skipped over the 1994 crime bill and talked about 1960. Hell, half of them co-signed the 1994 crime bills. They skipped over the Sean Bells and wanted to talk about 1960s. So they never wanted to talk about reparations. They would rather just give that same old civil rights reenactment, have some fake ass arrest, and talk about yes, we can. So they're all out the fucking paint. They have no role in our reparations. And y'all notice, family, once we removed all that old ass dinosaur energy, the reparations movement took off and gained steam. So if we remove these people here and then reparations started to gain steam, doesn't that tell you that those people there were the ones holding back the reparations claim? Exactly. Find out where the negative energy is, find out where the fraudulent energy is, find out where the counterfeit energy is, remove that shit, and then you will have a great day. And we're having a great day, great year, great decade because all of them old Triceratops Negroes are out the paint. And y'all know they be out there getting a straight coon acting on, don't they? They be in that motherfucker talking about something. This is for the justice for my right to coon. I stand on my cooning, even if it costs me my freedom. Hey, we out there putting in work so we can get ours. They was out there fighting for the right to coon, getting arrested and shit. Hey, and you had people sitting there looking at them like, what the hell they doing? All the other politicians, you had W politicians looking at them like, why are they even doing that? The hell? And you don't see nobody else doing that. They was running around here like this is 1962. You had motherfuckers saying, you do know this ain't 1962, right? You do know you don't have to go to a diner anymore and get a milkshake poured on your head, right? I'm telling you, these motherfuckers never left the 60s. And that was black leadership for 60 years. A joke, an absolute joke. Black politicians are the laughing stock of America. Everybody laughs at them. So this is why reparations never came up, because they were too busy doing that silly ass shit. And you notice all these arrests were always for POC groups? You ever notice that? All these fake ass coon arrests, all these cosplaying of civil rights reenactments, that was never about us. They didn't do any of this for Trayvon Martin. They didn't do any of this for Jordan Davis. They didn't do any of this for Philando Castile. They didn't do any of this for Freddie Gray. No, they never did any of these little stunts for black victims, yet there was black victims every day. They had every opportunity to do this for black folks, but they only pulled those stunts for other communities, the same way they only work for other communities, the same way they only pass laws for other communities. Family, do y'all remember when they literally went to the Congress floor and laid down in protest? Yes, I'm serious. They literally went down to Congress and laid on the floor and pulled another one of these civil rights sit-in stunts. Motherfuckers was laughing at them. It was for the rainbow community. Once again, they never do this for foundational black Americans, even though there's a big ass list of all foundational black Americans that were harmed. But like we said, they always skip over FBA and they start talking about everybody else. So they pulled another one of these stunts, basically saying that they lay down for POC, but they'll never stand up for FBA. It was a non-factor, a non-thought until we showed up. That's why we kicked their ass out on the street where they belong. They can't come in here. They're not allowed to. All that shit is revoked. Yep, because y'all know right here on the certified thing, I'm all for revoking motherfuckers. That's what we haven't done enough. Revoke them. You counterfeit, your shit is revoked. You off code, your shit is revoked. You talking that nonsense, revoked. Well, who gives you the right to do it? Because I'm certified and I say so, that's who. We don't play games. We're not playing games. No, our future is at hand here, ladies and gentlemen. This is all about the future of our children. I'm not playing games because this guy wants to swirl. I'm not playing games because this guy is jealous of FBA and he don't want us to have nothing. So he's going to derail something that could benefit us all. There were slave revolts that were planned that would have freed our ancestors 100 years prior to the Civil War. But they all got snitched on, squealed on, and told on by another black person, all because of their appetite for butter biscuits. I told you, when you see these banjos coming, then you already know what time it is. When you hear them goddamn strings get to strumming, then you already know, here come the banjos. You got the counterfeit banjo, you got the coon banjo, the Sambo banjo, you got the off-code butter biscuit banjo. But guarantee you, soon as one of these banjos shows up, you already know the type of games they're on. So we have regulated all that shit, and them little contactics don't happen no more because we are in control. When was the last time y'all seen one of them? When was the last time? When was the last time y'all seen one of these little fake sit-ins? Have y'all seen any of those lately? Hell to the no. It's because they understand in this era, the black grassroots era, you gonna get your ass clowned the fuck out the building for trying to pull some shit like that. That shit may have evoked emotion from back in the day. That shit may have made folks wipe their eyes and have some type of sentimental feelings back in the day. But this day, right here, right now, as we speak, as we are in control, that shit will get your ass a first class ticket on the coon train. And none of them like being on the coon train. That's why when they see us, they get to running. And that's another thing, family. They always get to running when they see us. So when I sit here and say that we got power, when I say that we putting coons out of business, when I say that we can roast them until they are gone, I mean it. Because look, every time we see them, they get that really weird look in their eyes, and then they start to run it. Stacey Abrams looked like she ain't ran since she was in the 3rd grade of recess, all right? If she does run, she's probably running to KFC, Popeyes, or Church's Chicken. That's about the only running she's doing. But she ran when our brother approached her about reparations. Yep, you saw Raphael Warnock. He ran when he seen Marcel. And they don't just send people out to stop you. The people are very nervous and uncomfortable. They're like, wait, no, hold on, stop. Give it a second. They don't really like us being in their presence. It makes them feel very, very uncomfortable because they know that we have the power to put them out of business. And once you have the power to put somebody out of business, they try to get away from you as fast as possible. You ever seen a coon run? Let the black grassroots show up and you're gonna see the motherfuckers with track shoes on. They some runners, they some track stars. They gonna run away when the shit's hard and we the hardest. So no, any president of the last 15, 20, 30, 40 fucking years never had to talk about reparations. We, the black grassroots of this era, are the ones who put that conversation in the middle of the table, and we make everybody address it on presidential campaigns, on presidential debates, presidential discussions, on national television, broadcast to 70 million people. Listen.
One by one, Democratic presidential candidates are tackling the topic of reparations.
I believe it's time to start the national, full-blown conversation about reparations.
That this country should resolve its original sin of slavery.
There is enormous disparity between the black community and the white community. And that issue has got to be addressed.
The idea of reparations has been an ongoing discussion since the end of slavery, where freed slaves and their descendants would be compensated.
Ain't heard that before. Ain't heard that before. So yeah, family, we got power. Like I said, when you can change the United States government, you can change the world because the United States government runs the world. And we are the only lineage who has the power to do so. Nobody else is. As I said, Russia, they walking around doing the same shit they've always done. North Korea, they walking around doing the same shit they've always done. Foundational black Americans, we the ones who keep them up at night. Oh, yes, the fuck we do. Because they can't contain us. But it's always been that way, hasn't it? Ain't it always been that way? Wars have came and went. Conflicts have came and went. Dictators have came and went. But who's always consistently been a thorn in the side of the dominant society? Who never took no motherfucking break? No days off. No, we quit. We give up. Never wave no white flag. You can find foundational black Americans in every single century, in every single era, in every single generation that been out here putting in that damn work. You can't say that about anybody else. All these other people in the diaspora, they are one-hit wonders. One-hit wonders. They may point to one little revolution here, Way the fuck back in the day. These tethers out here saying, but we fought the dominant society first. We were the first ones to gain freedom. Yup, and your ass done gained ass whoopings ever since. They ain't got no real victories they can point to today. I don't give a damn about them old ass victories you had way the fuck back when. Y'all notice that? Foundational Black Americans, we talk about what we do every day. Like right now, we can have a whole conversation, the whole family, about what we're getting done now. We could talk about what we're going to do tomorrow. They got to talk about shit from way back in the past. Y'all notice that? Y'all notice that all the tethers, they got to hop in their tether time machine. Yes, I said it, a tether time machine, and go way the fuck back and point out that one moment where they did something good. And they ain't did shit since. So what does that tell you? Failures. They like the motherfucker in high school who scored a touchdown and ain't did shit since. Damn, homie. In 1804, you was the man, homie. They got to go in their tether time machine to see success, and all we got to do is just wake up in the morning. On game. FBA. All day. Love it. Don't come to me and you a one-hit wonder. That's all they are, one-hit wonder. They like the rapper that had a hot song back in 1992, ain't did shit since. Look at our motherfucking catalog. We got hit after hit, stacking them and racking them. Ain't nobody else saying that. Every generation, we got some heavy hitters. We going platinum out the box. These motherfuckers going double wood, triple plastic. These motherfuckers going aluminum. These motherfuckers going Tupperware. You can't stand next to foundational Black Americans. We've always been on our game and we've always represented. So when you look right now in the things that they've done, we've created terms to combat that. Lineage-based. That term right there. Lineage-based. We done created that term lineage-based that we created so we can prevent everybody from coming in, and that word has served wonders. Yes, it has so much power in it because it is specific. And as we say, we deal with specifics. We don't deal with the loose. We don't deal with the vague. We don't deal with the uncertain. Everything we say is live and direct. Foundational Black Americans say things clear, can't get more clear. Let me say, if you don't understand what a foundational Black American is saying, your ass is lying or you deaf. Because we say that shit and frame that shit so unequivocally clear that there ain't no room for misinterpretation. We created the term, say it with your chest. Shit, James Brown said, say it loud. I'm Black and I'm proud. He didn't say it quiet, say it soft, say it with a whisper, say it so they don't really hear you. Fuck no. Foundational Black Americans, we put our stamp and our address on everything. We are the one lineage that we speak to be heard. And then when you hear us, you better feel us. And there ain't no other way because there ain't nobody else like us. We are the culture. There's power in words. As I always say, you can listen to what someone says and you can already see where their mind's at. You could already see what they're thinking. You can see what time they're on. Somebody walk into a room right now full of us and they say African American, we gonna run their ass out. Somebody walks in right now in a room full of us and they say people of color, then we gonna run their ass right on out. Someone says, as a minority, aren't we all minorities? You're my minority brothers and sisters. We gonna run their ass the fuck on out. Because we can already tell the time they're on based on the words that they choose to use. We don't use none of that shit. Everything we say has to be thorough. It has to be certified. None of that counterfeit energy can step on this side of the fence. And that's the reason why we stay so strong. And that's the reason why we're getting results. Gatekeeping solves everything. Pulling paperwork solves everything. Motherfuckers come around here and they ain't got that real energy. My brothers and sisters done seen it. My brothers and sisters done saw it. And you can't exist 2 seconds around us. Nah, so what we did is that we strategically went through everybody and seen who wasn't real. We seen them old Negroes from the civil rights era who were only here to carry the water for the dominant society. And they were only out here to stall us and to keep us down. They were running civil rights reenactments every goddamn week. They was having these fake ass arrests. And y'all notice that? It's only black politicians who get arrested. You ain't never seen no other politician from another group ever go out there and have some type of fucking mock arrest. I don't need my politician to go out and put on a dog and pony show and get arrested. I need you to get your ass in that boardroom and write some policies for us. They be out there getting fake arrested and shit, trying to have these civil rights reenactments. I'm telling y'all, they were going to civil rights reenact us for the next 100 years. These other groups ain't doing that shit. Their politicians actually serve them. They serve their constituents. They serve their populace. Ours never did. We are the only people in this country where your politicians have to work against you. It is a prerequisite for black politicians to go against black people. That is the number one rule, because guess what? If not, they wouldn't be here. You would never see a black politician ever rise to power if he was not working for the dominant society. That's why the black grassroots candidate That new wave that we're on now is the most important thing, because the only way you're ever going to change politics in this country is everything has to have the black grassroots stamp, the black grassroots seal of approval. If it is a law, it has to come through the black grassroots. If it's a policy, it has to come through the black grassroots. If it is a politician, a candidate, they have to come through the black grassroots. In order to get financial power, you have to have political power. And the only way we achieve political power is by creating our own black politicians. That is it. If you think a Democrat is going to come and serve black people, it's not happening, because they won't let him in. If you think a Republican is going to help black people, it'll never happen, because they'll never let them in. The dominant society knows who the fuck to let in and who the fuck not to. Both them parties who hate each other all day long don't agree on shit. They all agree on one thing, and that's anti-foundational black American racism. They'll get together real fast then. They'll say, let's put all of our 392 differences aside and let's go team up on the black folks. And then they'll bring in all of these other groups who are going to assist them. The minions and the puppets of the dominant society has been one of the strongest things that has happened in the last 15 years. Yes, it has. Bringing in people for our replacement has been one of the most major things that has happened. Oh, yes, it has. And people like Dr. Claude Anderson, as well as others, were predicting these things in the 1970s. And now we're all living it. That's why black folks are watching all of our politicians go out there and serve all of these minority groups. How many times do you ever see a POC politician talk about a black agenda? You never do. But how many times do you see a black politician talk about helping a POC agenda? All the time. The Black Caucus will literally put out a whole mission statement for Latinos. But you'll never see a Latino put out a whole mission statement for black people. Hell, they won't even put out a word for black people. Fuck a word. They won't even put out a letter for black people. No other group addresses us, but our politicians address everybody except for us. That is the political state that we are in, because these imposters work against us, and they proudly work against us. Sheila Jackson Lee works against black people. She helps POCs. James Clyburn works against black people. He helps POCs. Cory Booker works against black people. He helps POCs. Karen Bass definitely works against black people. She loves POCs. She'll campaign and want a black person be in the room, but she'll sit there and talk about the first black. Come on. Ketanji Brown Jackson. She works against black people. She helps POCs. Barack Obama, he worked against black people. He helped POCs. As a matter of fact, most people consider him the rainbow in chief. That's what most people consider him, because he did more for them than he did for black people. And you can look at all these folks' resumes and it matches exactly up with what we saying. You can see this achievement, that achievement, another achievement, and another achievement for other groups, and you see a big ass zero for black folks, because we are not who they work for. And what they do is they play facilitator between tangibles for us and tangibles for minorities. There's really no such thing as a black politician. They're really just POC politicians. POCs have POC politicians, and then they have POC politicians in blackface. That's basically what it is. And they take tangibles that are destined for us and they transmit them over to these other groups. That's why they'll put out statements on these other groups. Holidays won't say shit for us. I mean, they're out here talking about a national hymn. A fucking national hymn. That's their shining achievement. And how many times do y'all see on Twitter the CBC will come out and say, oh, what a groundbreaking day. We did a bunch of bullshit, pointless things that no one asked for. And then you ask them about reparations or the most simple tangibles. They don't want to talk about it. This is why we've been canceling their candidacies all across the country. That first black shit don't fly on us no more. Because all it takes is the first black to provide millions of dollars for POCs. That's exactly the games that they play and the hustles that they choose to use. And as I said, we are laser focused, so we see them all. We ain't out here letting nobody run their mouth. We ain't out here letting nobody cosplay. We ain't out here letting nobody talk crazy. You gonna talk crazy about a lot of things, but you're best to talk crazy about your own business and stay out of FBA business. You can't handle FBA business. It's too real for you. It's too strong for you. We too thorough for you. You can't wrap your mind about what we doing over here. This lineage, culture, and heritage is something you better get on your knees and pray every night that you even know who we are. All right? It's your privilege to know who we are. We don't give a damn about you. Point blank, period. So foundational black Americans is on game. As a matter of fact, ho. Did y'all see that actor or comedian or whatever his name is, Faison Slug, that big round dude that was running his mouth, really round dude and really big. Did y'all see that guy talking about foundational Black American reparations? Did y'all? He was talking that same, we gonna spend the money on Cadillacs and weave and all that. And mind you, all that we're gonna spend the money bad shit, that's basically code for we don't want you to have the money. You feel me? If I'm out here telling the neighbor he shouldn't have the money because he's gonna do this, if I'm out here telling the person across the street he shouldn't have the money because he's gonna do this, that's basically meaning I don't want you to have the money because I'm scared. We gotta start reading between the lines. We gotta start seeing the tether translation, all right? There's always translation for opposition towards us. So when someone says, I don't want you to have the money because of these reasons, it's really because I'm really scared that y'all gonna flip that money. It's really because you're gonna surpass me. It's really because I can't stand next to y'all because you're too strong. We know what it is. And that's exactly what this big round Jabba the Hutt looking guy was talking about. Man, listen to this big old hefty bag.
Per person in California who's a descendant of slavery.
Fuck that 203,000. You know what it is? Fuck that. That's another trick bag. You know why? Because that money's gonna go right back to Cadillac, right back to motherfucking Benz. Fuck that.
First off, homeboy, you don't need to be worrying about reparations and how we gonna spend our money, because it's clear you spend every dollar you got at Domino's Pizza. And on the way home from Domino's Pizza, you probably stop at Church's Chicken, Subway, Bojangles, Crystals, Papa John's, Little Caesars, McDonald's, Burger King, Fat Burger, Whataburger, Wendy's, Taco Bell, Applebee's, Bob Evans, Cheddar's, Spaghetti Warehouse, Longhorn Steakhouse, Aldi's, Kroger's, Food Lion, Denny's, Shoney's, the Waffle House, the Waffle King, the Pit Stop, the corner store, and still eating. If you don't take that sausage McMuffin out your mouth and sit your ass down, fuck you talking about reparations for? I'm telling you, fam, out of anybody who's talking about reparations, that Triceratops better shut his ass up. Point blank, cause homeboy, you give us way too much ammunition. Straight up, big worm. Motherfucker, you make Lizzo look anorexic. Hell no, I never thought I'd see some shit like that. Fuck no. He make Lizzo look like she done got off the treadmill, the staircase, the incline. You know it's bad when a motherfucker make you want to knock Carl Roland Martin roly-poly. Shit, that's fucked up. He make Roland Martin look like Kevin Hart. Family, if you got any insecurities about your weight, go stand next to this motherfucker for 2 minutes. You gonna feel like a supermodel. Big ass. I see why you don't want foundational Black Americans to get reparations. I see why. Cause you feel you gonna have to compete with us in the frozen food section. You think you gonna get there and ain't gonna be no more steaks. Ain't gonna be no more fruit roll-ups. Ain't gonna be no more Twinkies. At least the POCs are afraid because they gotta compete with us politically. At least the POCs are afraid because they gotta compete with us in the classroom. This motherfucker's afraid because he gotta compete with us at the grocery store. You don't sit your big ass down, have a pound cake and shut up. I ain't gonna have no rusty ass Cadillac DeVille size man talking about reparations. Hell to the no. Keep FBA's name out your mouth. Cause we know where you're really from. Oh yeah, we do. So don't worry about foundational Black American affairs. Worry about affairs in your homeland, homeboy. And plus, you don't want this FBA roast. Oh, I'm sorry, family. You gotta be careful when you say roast to him because he'll run and go get a plate. All right, that's it. I'm done, y'all. That's it. I'm done. All right, back to this. We got business to attend to. Just a little quick little roast real quick. That was it. We back to business, family. G-check. Y'all know how we do. Moving on, it was these first blacks that were out here inviting everybody to our reparations panels. That's who the fuck it was. They was out there saying, whoa, why don't we let everybody in? Y'all remember they was trying to make it about racism? They wanted to give out reparations for racism, family. Come the fuck on, because next thing you know, that was going to have a snowball effect. And then you're going to have W showing up say, we experienced racism. Can we get in on the reparations panel? And next thing you know, Billy and Sally were going to get reparations. Why do you think they would use those very vague terms? See, you got to read between the lines and you got to see the details. They were trying to use the most ambiguous and abstract terms because those vague terms allows everybody to sneak in. They've done it before. Affirmative action. Affirmative action was something that was meant for black folks. Next thing you know, end up helping W women. Come on. Why? It's because the language was very, very vague and the terms were very, very ambiguous, and that was a tactic. And they said, let's try the same thing we did with affirmative action on reparations. They were trying to give us affirmative action reparations. Yeah. And then that didn't work because we stopped that shit. Then they said, let's go give them all lives matter reparations. And all those black politicians, all those first blacks, they were doing their imposter job that I was just talking about. They were on the front line with a bullhorn inviting everybody in. Hey everybody, freedmen are getting reparations. Come on over. The water's warm. Hop on in. We giving away fish fried nuggets and chitlins. Y'all can all have a part of our reparations. We inviting everybody. They was putting out invitations, RSVPs. They was running ads in the paper. Any POC who wants in on Freedmen reparations, show up this day at 12 o'clock across the street from Ebenezer Baptist Church. We're going to have a prayer and a Sunday service, and then we're going to auction off Freedmen reparations to everybody. Everybody's invited. Everybody's included. Bring a friend. It was a big-ass reparations sleepover, sponsored by the Black Congressional Caucus and the POC community. Black politicians were inviting everybody to the reparations cookout. Everybody. They were like, here, you can have a plate, Mr. Jorge. You can have one too, Mr. Sanchez. Y'all all down. You people of color just like we are, so we all deserve people of color reparations. I mean, I know you can't build things on your own, so that's why I take things from foundational Black Americans and I give them to y'all. We all the world. We all the people. You want some reparations to go with those fish fried nuggets? The fuck out of here. All that shit that they was running. All of it. A reparations robbery. That's exactly what it's been. It is a reparations robbery, and the Congressional Coon Caucus is the getaway driver. Soon as we started to mention reparations, they started to see how they could steal reparations. A reparations robbery, or they have a reparations auction, and they just auction off all of our tangibles. You gotta understand, family, they auction off our tangibles on a day-to-day basis. So only thing they're doing is applying the same tactics that they use every other time when it comes to foundational Black Americans. They auction off hate crime laws that are supposed to go to us, go to everybody else. They auction off education programs supposed to go to us, go to everybody else. That's why you see HBCUs now barely got any Black folks in them. They just might as well start calling them HCUs and just take the Black out, because there ain't no more Black folks. They got W's in every goddamn body. I'm talking about the administration. I'm talking about the students, the council, the alumni, everyone. Economic programs that are meant for foundational Black Americans, they auction that off to everybody else. It's the consistent game they do in typical politics in America. So they're trying to run that same game on our reparations claim. They auction off everything else. Well, let's auction off foundational Black American reparations. Oh yeah, man, the HBCUs, you see a lot of infiltration there. So as we talk about infiltration in our reparations, y'all already know what going on in the HBCUs. As a matter of fact, did y'all see the video of that POC teacher that called the police on that Black student in an HBCU? Family, HBCUs are POCUs, okay? That's all about them, all right? That's all about them. Just take the Black out. Yes, the POC race soldier, because that's what they are, POC race soldiers, called the police on a young sister because the sister was talking to her. That's it. That's it. Are you surprised that at an HBCU, a sister gets arrested because a POC teacher called the police on her? And mind you, that POC teacher who called the police on her would be the main ones in the front line of our reparations panels with their hands out. That's what I'm saying. They'll do your dirt out here in the street, and then they'll come to collect when we start talking money. Goddamn.
I swear to God, I hate you. I swear to God, I hate you, bro. You're the worst teacher ever. You get me taken out of here because I want to apologize. Because I want to apologize. You started yelling at me. You tried to embarrass me about my paper. You're a terrible teacher.
Is somebody recording this? Oh, everybody. I hope you're recording everybody because that's ridiculous. Yes, that really is.
Letting this shit happen. Listen, at the time, they did not say anything about charges. They did not say anything about arrest. Now that I'm in here, they're saying I have not only one, but 2 charges and I'm going to county jail. When they so you're apologizing.
Ain't that a shame? Ain't that a shame? And then guess what? The whole goddamn administration of the school defended the teachers. HBCUs ain't shit. I'm gonna say it. People get mad. It is what it is. They've been going a long time ago. They don't teach Black folks about Black empowerment. They teach you how to assimilate to the dominant society. And apparently, they also support POC race soldiers over their own Black students. Now listen to the HBC coons administration defend the POC race soldier.
Once campus police is on the scene, per our university policy and per police and public safety policy, their first and primary role is to make sure everyone is safe that's involved in the incident. And so that's what they did. They wanted to assess the situation, see what was going on, and then provide a positive resolution if necessary. And then if not, they're required by their policies to then take the necessary procedures. In this particular incident, they made the call to arrest the student and have them escorted off of campus.
So while everybody was so mad at Deion Sanders, oh, he did the HBCUs so wrong. He set the HBCUs back years. No, the HBCUs did the black community wrong a long time ago. And the HBCUs set their own selves back because that's why you have whole fucking student bodies and graduating classes of everybody except black folks. So I don't want to hear that shit about no HBCUs. Real ones done called them out a long time ago. All an HBCU is the NAACP. One is an off-coded political organization. The other is an off-coded school institution. But they both off-code and neither one of them do a goddamn thing for the black community. As a matter of fact, HBCUs get all this money. The NAACP gets all this money. Have y'all heard them even mention reparations? Where is the reparations movement on an HBCU campus? Since y'all about black folk, since y'all always want to talk about slavery and what we been through, okay, we've been through slavery, now we need to go through some reparations. You don't hear the HBCUs, NAACP, or any of these groups mention reparations, and that's what we doing now. If your ass don't bring up reparations, then you are an op, period. It ain't do you just go against reparations. It's to the point now where if you don't talk about reparations, then your ass is an op. I'm talking about every fucking institution. I'm talking about every organization, every fucking celebrity, every person, everybody out here. If you do not mention reparations or support reparations for foundational black Americans, you don't mean shit. There's no business why the black grassroots has to create the subject, carry the subject, move the subject, fight for the subject. We got to go to Washington, D.C. and rally for it. But none of these other organizations that make billions of fucking dollars and claim that they down for black folks don't say a fucking thing. So the line is drawn in the sand. HBCUs, or shall I say HBC coons, you don't mention reparations, then your ass off the fuck code. And if you off the fuck code, you kick the fuck out. Bottom line, I told you, we don't have no wiggle room. Either you down or you out. And once we instituted that type of policy, shit gets done. And that's why shit gets done. I love it. They expose themselves. Silence exposes people. Dr. Martin Luther King said it best. He said, there comes a time when silence is betrayal. And these motherfuckers is silent. Therefore, we're going to treat they silence accordingly. And that means we're going to silence they ass. So the G-Check is officially in service. That's why our certified task force is in place. It makes sure that all the bullshit stops at the door. It makes sure all the trick bags stop at the door. All the con games stop at the door. Can you imagine if the black grassroots was not here right now, family? Can you imagine if we weren't out here really getting in these folks' faces? If we didn't show up and let motherfuckers know they're not going to run them games on us? I'm telling you, family, it'd be a terrible situation. The very fact that we're here and we see everything play out and then we come to these places uninvited, because they ain't got to invite us. We're going to show up regardless because this is our country. This being our country means we can go anywhere, do anything, and represent ourselves anytime our names come up. It ain't going to be a foundational black American committee, but ain't no foundational black Americans present. It ain't going to be no foundational black American summit, but ain't no foundational black Americans on it. That's like having a family reunion and ain't nobody in your family there. Somebody on the other side of town is at your family reunion and everybody in your family is not even allowed. Fuck that. That ain't how we roll. Listen, they can try to pull that shit. That can be the game that they own. But they better change that shit up quick, fast, in a hurry because they dealing with a whole new era and a whole new set of rules. And these rules, simple. Freedmen first, freedmen only, just freedmen. All that. So we've been calling them out, we've been reading between the lines, and we've been breaking down the fine print. They're not gonna twist us up. Nah, I'm telling you. They ain't gonna just hit us with a simple twist of words and shit and say, oh, reparations for black folks? Nope, just playing for all minorities. Reparations for black folks? Nope, just playing for all W women. Nah, that's what I'm saying. This generation cannot be fooled. This generation cannot be played. You better go try that shit on somebody else because we are not the one. We understand exactly what they're doing. That's why they put in all that language, family. Y'all remember when they were just trying to make reparations about race? It was just about racism. Like anybody who's experienced racism can come on in. How open is that? How unspecific is that? That basically means anybody can show up, say they had a racial experience, and come on in and collect a check. We've been dealing with specifics, and that's the way you got to do it. You have to deal with specifics. If you're a real soldier, you got to understand the actual details of the terms. You feel me? And that's why we on fire right now, because we've been dealing with specifics. This era right here, every single thing we say is very, very specific. That's all we do. We don't deal in no vague terms. We don't deal with the we not sures, coulda, woulda, maybe. Fuck no. Direct. You can't twist somebody who's direct. You can't twist somebody who's uncut, someone who says shit that's real, right down the center. We don't say things on the left side, on the right side, underneath. We ain't trying to fool nobody. We speaking so you hear us clearly. specifics. And that's why this era is getting so much done in real time, because we don't operate in some false ass terms. We don't operate in the we not sures. Very specific, you know what the fuck we saying. You feel me? When we say foundational, they say African, we say hell to the no. When we say black, they say of color, we say hell to the no. When we say freedmen, they say minority, we say hell to the no. We chopping that shit off at the legs. That shit don't even get a chance to put his shirt on in the morning. We ain't having that. Hell to the no. Because once they can start twisting your words, talking around what you saying, next thing you know, everybody pops up. And that's what all of these politicians have been relying on. The very fact that we're not being specific, now they can weasel in anybody they want. That's what they were trying to do. Then they tried to make it about Jim Crow. See, they tried to make it about Jim Crow because they understood the influx of immigrants came in this country around that time. But when you go back to chattel slavery, there wasn't an influx of immigrants. It was just us, i.e. foundational. So these other people said, let's move the needle. Let's move the time frame up. Let's create an era where immigrants came in so we can get all their money. We know what they was doing. We knew exactly what they was doing. Sooner or later, they're going to try to make reparations just about people who got called bad names. I got called a bad name in the 5th grade. Shouldn't I get a check? I'm telling you, eventually reparations is going to be about who got bullied. You're going to have motherfuckers showing up saying, I got pushed on the playground. Somebody threw me off the swing set. My child's entitled to reparations. And that's what it is. They do not want us to get reparations, but even more so true, they don't want our children to get reparations. All right? Because they understand generational wealth in the hands of foundational Black Americans is a very dangerous thing. Very dangerous. They try to keep us from the bag right now. They try to pocket watch us right now. What you think they're going to do when our kids grow up and they got a big ass lump sum waiting on them? And then they can go build off of what we already built. They understand little Sally and little Susie and little Billy and little Timmy. They all gonna have to compete with our children. And the system of supremacy is designed to keep their kids ahead of ours. So reparations scares them on every single level. It scares them right now, and it really scares them tomorrow. So that's why they're trying to open up them doors as wide as possible. See, they're not worried about the immigrant children. They understand that because the minions who come into this country, they're going to be minions today, minions tomorrow, all the time. They always want to classify themselves, snuggle up next to the dominant society. So they're not worried if they get a couple dollars here or there. They understand that them motherfuckers can have all the money in the world. They're still going to be docile to the dominant society. They worried about that motherfucker who ain't docile with the money. You show me somebody with money who don't give a fuck about supremacy, then they know it's a big problem. And that's why they know we are a big problem. So as I said, they try to keep that door open wide as possible. They try to use the most loose terms so every single other group can come on in and get some of our money. Because if they get some of our money, then that means less money for us. And you know the world hates FBA with them dollar bills. You got other Black folks, Dr. Umar, who cannot stand the thought of FBA getting to the cash. So you know the dominant society don't want to see it. Well, they better keep on looking because that money is on its way in a big ass bankroll. So family, let's bust it down. They tried to give our reparations to the POCs. We exposed that shit, ran it off the block. They tried to give our reparations to the minorities, exposed them, ran them off the block. They tried to play the we don't know yet, ran that shit off the block. You know exactly what it is, motherfucker. Nice try. Every single thing that they have tried to use to stop our reparations claim hasn't worked. They send out Black people. Black folks saying, I don't think we needs the money. We say, well, fuck you then. We gonna get it. I'm telling you, there's nothing that can stop us. We are very determined. And once you get foundational Black Americans on that type of level, things get accomplished and things are getting accomplished. They thought that we would just stop. They literally thought that we would get tired out and then we would take a break and just quit and say, man, I don't even want the reparations, man. It ain't that serious now. That ain't this era. And it's so funny y'all sitting back and watching them think that they're gonna do shit from the past, like that shit still works. It's funny when a motherfucker ain't got the memo. Ain't it funny? It's so funny when they sit there and try to use old tactics, like that shit gonna work on us, and they ain't really realize that it's a new era. Yeah, that shit is funny as fuck. Because if you look at the reparations claim, it started off with a lot of people thinking they was gonna get in on it. All the POC groups thought it was theirs. They thought that shit was gonna be smooth sailing. They was like, man, we got this shit in the bag. You know what I'm saying? We done did this to the yes we can generation. We done did this to the we need to do better generation. We done did this to the can't we all get along generation. That cut the check generation. Man, we got them. Shit. Hell to the no. They thought that shit was sweet. Fuck nah, this a whole different time. I'm telling you, they was looking for Black folks and the wrong one showed up. And now they gotta deal with it. So you're starting to see it sink in on all these other groups that they ain't gonna con us like they used to. As a matter of fact, there's gonna be consequences and repercussions for that shit. It ain't just gonna be you tried it and it didn't work. No, it's gonna be you tried it and you got your ass regulated. And you're gonna have to wear that regulation for the rest of your life. Big steppers. And that's exactly what we are. Big steppers. And we letting everybody know that this is the cut the check generation. You feel me? Y'all gonna cut that motherfucking check. You're gonna put a bunch of zeros on it. And you're gonna put FBA, Foundational Black American. Yes, that's exactly how it's gonna be. You know why? Because we FBA and we say so. That's why. That's what happens on the certified side of things. So now all these other groups are starting to get very desperate. That's why you see them coming out saying, FBA is my oppressor. FBA is a hate group. Family, that ain't got nothing to do with anything in reality. All that is somebody's desperate attempt to stop our reparations because every single thing else they tried has failed. You only get to that level and say some old outlandish, fugazi, ludicrous shit is after everything else you've tried has failed miserably, and everything they have tried has failed miserably. They thought sitting in on our panels was going to work. They thought the word salad was going to work. They thought the forked tongue was going to work. They thought they could use the can't we all get along and the all lives matter. And we said reject, 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 regulate, 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 try again, motherfucker. And now they're saying, well, FBA is my oppressor. That's what they're doing now. You feel me? And it looks crazy as shit because everybody knows that the dominant society are the real people who are out here harming them. As I said before, they'll get harmed by the dominant society and the dominant society be on camera, waving at the fucking camera, winking at the camera. And then they'll say, FBA did it. You feel me? The whole FBA did it. FBA was following me on the train. FBA chased me last night. FBA hurt my feelings. That whole con game is based on reparations. I will go as far to say that 90% of the opposition that we faced in the last 5 years has all been about reparations. When you take your average everyday anti-black racism and then you add it with the reparations claim, then you start getting reparations claim type of anti-black racism. Yes, reparations anti-black racism, oh, that's a whole different hitter. You know why? Because now you're talking about money. Yes, M-O-N-E-Y. When you start talking about M-O-N-E-Y in the hands of FBA, motherfuckers get crazy. And that's why you're starting to see this whole campaign. That's why you're seeing the Vanessa Joneses of the world come out. That's because they're trying to stop us from getting reparations. They're trying to say we have to make them look like they're the oppressor. Because if they're the oppressor, then they can't say that we're the oppressor. And if we're not the oppressor, then we don't owe them anything. They're trying to literally rewrite all of history just so they can stop us from getting to the money. Well, guess what? They can get out a motherfucking pen, a pad, a color pencil, permanent marker, a dry erase board, and they can rewrite every motherfucking thing they want. Still gonna cut the check though. We still gonna get the bag. We still gonna get the money because it's our destiny. It is our destiny because the reparations movement is a spiritual one. It really is. And that's why I say our reparations warriors out here, we're not just putting it down for ourselves. We're putting it down for the legacy of our ancestors. And when you put that ancestral spirit inside of a reparations movement, then you're going to get that real certified vibe. And that's exactly the line that we're pushing. And the whole world's got to deal with it. Watch them close. It is literally a whole world that is conspiring against foundational Black American reparations. That's exactly what it is. See, when you're on code the way we're on code, it sets everything off. It sets everybody off, and they have all been set off. But let me tell you something. If you want to set it off, we're going to set it off right. So no matter what they do, no matter what they throw, we're going to come back 100 times harder because that is the FBA way. We don't get down, we don't lay down. We stay focused and we get ours. And what is ours? This country. What is ours? Reparations. And how we gonna get it? Just by being our goddamn selves. Yes, indeed. So when we say that people round up, they come around, they try to take what's ours, as we say, every single group this year has took turns coming after our reparations. And family, I'm not playing around. And that's not hyperbolic. That is in a literal sense. This year started off with Group A trying to come after our reparations, and then B, then C, then D, all the way through the fucking alphabet. We did a whole lap this year, and every single group, lineage, heritage, sexual preference has came at foundational Black Americans individually. And we still here. We went around it all. See, what they thought is that these groups were going to get us off our path. They thought all the shit that they was going to throw, all the debris was going to make us say, okay, we don't want reparations, it's too much. It actually made us stronger. It actually made us more focused. It actually made us go harder. So now they don't know what to do, and that's where the desperation comes in. I'm telling you, fam, you got people who are in places that we don't even go to. You got people coming in from places that don't have no concern with us. They got their own issues. And they're coming over here trying to get at us about our reparations. Family, we had somebody call in to our Twitter space from the UK who's originally from the Middle East. Okay, you got somebody who's living in the UK, who's originally from the Middle East, calling in trying to argue with us about our reparations in America. Family, that is somebody 3 countries removed, 2 continents removed, and they're still thinking about FBA. When you got somebody across the ocean, literally, across the sea, literally, over mountains, literally, in a place that we don't even bother with, bothering us, then you know you on game, you know you got influence, and you know you got everybody shook. And reparations has everybody shook. So this guy calls in trying to tell us about reparations, trying to troll foundational Black Americans. Now let me say this. This guy is an immigrant in the UK. He has original people from the UK, the dominant society. They want him to get out of their country. Why the hell he got a problem with us? This is what I'm talking about. You got somebody who is a tether in his own country. He ain't even a tether to America. He is a tether to the UK. He got the dominant society in the UK trying to get him to leave. And somehow he's sweating us. So with all the problems he has over in his home country, somehow he wakes up thinking about foundational Black Americans and our reparations. So when he wakes up in the morning and he got everybody in Buckingham Palace saying we need to run them out the country, he's thinking foundational Black American reparations. When he wakes up in the morning and he got everybody in Buckingham Palace trying to take his passport away, he's thinking foundational Black American reparations. When he wakes up in the morning and he got everybody in Buckingham Palace trying to send him back to his home country, he's thinking about foundational Black American reparations.
You claimed I was American.
I didn't say you're American. I said you was a troll. So go ahead and answer the question. Go ahead, give me the capitals of America.
I'm dumb, bro. I'm dumb. I'm not African.
We know that. Everybody in the room knows that. But I'm asking you right now to go ahead and give me the capitals.
Listen, brother. I'll be real.
No, you listen. Go ahead and give me the capitals. Don't run. Put the shoes down, brother.
Because you've named the capitals of random countries, by the way.
No, I just named every country in the Middle East. They're not random countries. That was every country in the Middle East, partner. I think that you're just a troll who doesn't know what he's talking about, and you're upset that a Black American is giving you that work about your own side of the world.
I haven't been able to get a word in. Let me just say this.
No. You could have had a word. You didn't answer my question. You could have all the words if you want to answer my question. Now, name me a capital. The same one I said 2 minutes ago. Name me some capitals in America. Give me 5.
I don't know.
Isn't one of them. Isn't one of them.
I don't care, bro. Like, I don't know why.
You don't care. But you care enough to call in a space full of Americans and try to talk down on America. So you don't care about talking about our capital, but you care to talk. I said what you didn't do. You didn't answer my question. And we're going to make you answer that question. Now, name me 5.
The capital was in America. I don't get
Because I'm showing you that I know more about your side of the world than you know about mine. Now, answer your question. Answer mine.
Well, you don't know what my side of the world is. What is my accent? Name me my accent.
It's from the Middle East. It's from the Middle East, so either you're Arabic or you're Persian.
I've got a London accent, thank God, but...
No, you have, and guess what? And London has a big, severe Arabic population. You know that better because I've been to London. I've also been to Liverpool, and I've also been to Manchester.
You want state capitals?
Yes, I want state capitals, yes.
Like what state? Go on.
I gave you the whole country. You got 50 of them. Give me 5. We got 50 states over here. Give me 5. Don't Google it. Hey, he's hitting his keys. Hey, he's typing it. He's typing it.
Shout out to Goat Milk Twitter.
Hey, he's typing it in. Hey, man, okay, so here's what we do know. We do know is that I sat here and I named more places in the Middle East, and I named more places in the Middle East than he knows. I named the countries and the capitals, and I'm an American. I also named more places in the UK, and I'm an American. And he can't name me 5 capitals in the United States of America. I wonder if he can name me 5 states. Okay, so this is what you call a G-check and the G-work. So at the end of the day, no matter what you're saying, no matter what you're speaking, you're really upset that a foundational Black American knows more about the geopolitical world than you do, including the place where you're at. And by the way, you are not originally from the UK. You are an immigrant to the UK. So we got a double fleer. He a double fleer. He fled from the Middle East to the UK, and now he's trying to flee from the UK all the way over here. He got a double flee passport. Okay, he in the tether time machine. So that's what it is, and you're upset that a foundational Black American knows way more than you know about geopolitics. You thought you was gonna come in this space and I couldn't talk about the whole world, but I've been around the whole world twice. You need to step your troll game up.
to do a better job at it. If you're going to come in here trying to troll us, at least be able to name 5 states. And if you can name 5 states, give me 4 cities. If you can name me 4 cities, give me 3 towns. You can't do any of that, but I can name everywhere where you're from. So that's what we call a G-check. So take this and go tell all your little friends over there, wherever you're at, go tell them in your little tether tent that you're probably laying in with your tether TP, talking on your tether phone, and go tell them that a foundational Black American straight from the deep south of Georgia gave you the work about the whole world that you don't know nothing about. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. See? Proof right there, family. Somebody who is an immigrant to his own country in another continent across the ocean with his own problems and his own citizenship is focusing on us. So basically, we got immigrants here in America that want our reparations, and we got immigrants in the United Kingdom that want our reparations. How the hell do you got immigrants in another country worrying about your reparations in a place they'll never go to? Goddamn. We said it. When reparations is on the table, you start seeing some crazy ass things, and that's exactly what the fuck happened. But they bring that shit around, and we handle it. Yes, indeed. As a matter of fact, y'all remember when the Iranians showed up at our reparations conversation? Y'all remember that? Black folks was having that reparations panel, and then all of a sudden, hundreds of Iranians pop up marching at the same place that we're at. Out of all the places they could have marched, they could have marched at the Republican National Convention, the Democratic National Convention. They just happened to find where we were talking about reparations. That wasn't no goddamn coincidence. They sat there and said, oh, FBA's over there handling their business. FBA gets things done, and we want some of their reparations. So let's just magically, coincidentally, have our march exactly where they are. And then they showed up talking about all lives matter and all types of shit. We're minorities too. They use every old con game in the book. So yes, this is how we have it, family. We have Middle Eastern people from the United Kingdom calling in foundational Black American spaces worried about our reparations. We also have Iranian people who are protesting the Iranian government here in America at the same place where we're discussing reparations. What is the denominator in all of that? What's the one word it keeps coming back to? What's the one item that seems to be drawing in every single group, whether they got their hand out, they bags out, they hope out, or they opposition out? Reparations. So add them to the other 100 groups that are trying to infiltrate us. Damn. And y'all notice the same thing? It was Dr. Umar 3 weeks ago talking about we don't need cash payments because we're going to spend the money wrong. And then it was Godfrey 2 weeks ago. I'm sorry, Mr. Nigeria 2 weeks ago. He said we're going to spend the money wrong. And then it was Faison Slug. And he's saying we don't need the money because we're going to spend it wrong. What do they all have in common? Those are all 3 non-FBA tethers saying that we are not smart enough to control our own money. Isn't that the same thing tethers always say? Ain't that the same thing tether parents always speak of? Those foundational Black Americans are lazy. Don't you go marry them. Go get you a W. It's the same shit. I'm not surprised that people from non-FBA backgrounds think FBA are not intelligent enough to spend our money. Well, I'll tell you what we are intelligent enough to know. We're all intelligent enough to know that y'all 3 asses are tethers and you ain't never gonna get our money, but you're gonna have a front row seat watching us spend it. So like always, bow down, partner. And then you got this guy, Peon or whatever his name is, we don't know. Just another one of these people who come out and they're trying to set us up. They're trying to run game. They're trying to frame us because you got a lot of these people who are trying to frame the movement, okay? You can go way back to the 1960s and a lot of them folks that were showing up at those protests that was talking all that reckless shit, grabbing the microphone, grabbing the megaphone, always the one in front of the camera, and they're saying, we gonna do this, we gonna do that. They're making a bunch of these little hostile threats. Those are people trying to set everybody up. They're trying to set you up for the okie doke. See, the dominant society understands if they cannot frame you individually, they'll try to frame the movement. Okay, and they do that by finding these little decoys that go out there and say reckless shit. They're always putting out these little threats and these little undermined hostile statements. And they're saying, well, if you don't do this, this is gonna happen. And they try to make it look like that's coming from all of us. When that shit ain't coming from us, that's coming from that motherfucker. All that reckless talk, that's coming from that motherfucker. All those hostile statements, that's coming from that motherfucker. All those threats, that's coming from that motherfucker. We ain't say that. We out here doing it the proper means in a just way. These motherfuckers are agents of chaos. All they want to do is go grab the microphone and yell. That's all they want to do. Grab the microphone, yell, and say a bunch of shit that don't nobody agree with. And these are the folks who make the block hot. And typically, the person who makes the block hot, they do it and then they get out of Dodge. You feel me? That's why the dominant society finds them. They pick them. They say, come on in here. We gonna have you do an interview. We gonna have you talk. We gonna have you say a bunch of bullshit. We gonna have you say a bunch of reckless shit. We gonna have you say anything that looks bad. And we gonna put that in high definition HD, and then we're gonna make 20 headlines. And that's what happened with this clown. He goes out there purposely and tries to put a bunch of hostility in our reparations claim, because the dominant society loves saying somebody's hostile. They love that. Why do you think everybody says FBA is a hate group? They got to use those things because they cannot defeat us politically. They can't defeat us socially. They cannot defeat us intellectually. So if you can't beat somebody intellectually, the first thing you got to do is make it look like they're a criminal. So these guys come out and talk all that criminal bullshit. Y'all remember when the Not Fucking Around Coalition was talking about, we're going to take Texas over. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're going to make this happen. They sound very fucking hostile. All right. And that does not help a political claim. We are making a political claim. These motherfuckers are just running around talking on their megaphones and screaming. I'm not surprised this guy had an interview. He didn't get a chance to talk anywhere, but he did an interview. That means somebody was pulling them strings saying, come on in. If you're going to say something that you don't need to say, here's a microphone. You're going to say something that's reckless, here's a microphone. If you're going to say something that's going to make the movement look like a bunch of criminals, here's a microphone. And that's exactly what happened. But as always, family, we are here to reject that shit. So that type of bullshit and whatever this motherfucker say, we're going to put it on paper. Fuck him. He don't represent us. Do not stand with us. We denounce him, dismiss him, and delete him from anything that has something to do with our foundational Black American reparations. We put that on the table. Back in the old days, motherfuckers say reckless things and nobody got him out the paint. We get him out the paint. Folks is showing up and saying, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Brothers and sisters say, no the fuck you ain't. That ain't got nothing to do with us. Get out of here. Go start your own rally. Go have your own movement if that's what you want to do. The reparations rally we had in Washington, D.C., when them hooting hollering motherfuckers was in the back, guess what? They was hooting and hollering in the back because the real ones was up front and we created distance and separated ourselves from them. And that's what we're doing today. We're separating ourselves from all the negative energy. We're separating ourselves from all the decoys. We're separating ourselves from all the ops. We're separating ourselves from all that reckless ignorance. If it is negative energy, whether you are in an interview, whether you are on a stage, whether you have a microphone, whether you have a megaphone, whether you just yelling really loud, if it's negative and it does not represent foundational Black Americans and it does not represent certified Black society, your ass is going to get dismissed like school's out. And that's what we've been doing, dismissing them all. So when we're over here getting to the bag, we're over here focused and we're doing it in a proper just means way, and you see all these decoys running around like that clown talking all that bullshit, you can easily solve all that by saying this simple statement. That ain't us. That's that motherfucker. Y'all know them fake decoy spokespeople? He ain't no spokesperson. He don't represent us. But it's always the fake loud one with the megaphone screaming. All the goddamn Black Lives Matter, all the NFACs, all of them. They always put the most reckless decoy in the front row because that's the person trying to lie on everybody. That's the one who's trying to frame us all. They're trying to frame the movement. They can't put you behind bars, but they can try to put the movement behind bars. So they go get these decoys. They're basically the person who can yell the loudest. They're basically the person who can say the dumbest shit. Nothing but babble, all babble.
And unfortunately, we all know what's next. Either they're going to comply or it's going to be a serious backlash.
All that slide talk, all that villain shit, sounded like you Thanos and shit. Man, hell to the no. Hell no, ain't no Black person running around here saying this was gonna happen next. Using words like comply. We ain't saying that. That word ain't nowhere near in our reparations movement. We out here saying tangibles and cut the check. He talking about comply. You feel me? This how you know you dealing with an op. Saying unfortunately. Backlash. Ain't nobody saying backlash. Family, have y'all heard anybody use the term comply or backlash in this reparations movement for the last 5 years? Ain't nobody saying that shit but him. Bottom line, that's a decoy. So after we G-checked, regulated, and pulled the paperwork back on every single tactic that they've tried to get to stop our reparations, they went to the last most desperate attempt in the world to try to get us off course, family. Yes, they did. Now all of a sudden, you're seeing the Biden administration. This is how much time, energy, and effort that they're trying to put into stopping foundational Black Americans. They've got so desperate that they've went to the point of hopping on a plane and flying all the way over to Africa and trying to Africanize our reparations. God damn right.
In a keynote address at the three-day U.S.-Africa Leaders Summit, President Biden told the crowd the United States is, quote, all in on Africa's future, pitching the U.S. as a reliable partner to promote democratic elections and push critical health and energy growth. Biden told the crowd that Monday's announcement of $55 billion in investments over the next 3 years was, quote, just the beginning, promising more than $15 billion in private trade and investment commitments, as well as partnerships.
Did y'all see the Biden administration? I'm talking about the administration. He had secretaries and secretaries of secretaries with him host the America and African Summit. Yes, they did. And trust me, family, when they went over there, they weren't just talking about trade relations amongst the two. They weren't just talking about technology amongst the two. They weren't talking about a union amongst the two. Joe Biden fixed his "you ain't black" lips and said that they apologized for slavery to Africans. Yes, that's exactly what the fuck he said. He uttered the terms, "We apologize for slavery, America's oldest sin," not to foundational black Americans, not to certified American freedmen, the people who were enslaved, the people who were rounded up by the Africans, the people who were placed in the killing fields, brutalized, raped, murdered, maimed, and pillaged for 400 plus years and created this country. No apologies for them. He apologized to the Africans like they're us and we're them. Like they've been through what we've been through. Like they've dealt with what we've dealt with. Like they've accomplished what we've accomplished. Like they were in those fields generation after generation, being sold, coming home one day and seeing your mama on the truck, being shipped away to Mississippi and you live in Alabama. One day seeing your father being shipped away to Carolina and you live in Florida. You can't compare no other ethnicity or heritage to foundational black American freedmen. And the very fact that anybody would hop on a plane and go over and tell Africans, we apologize to y'all who were the culprits of the transatlantic slave trade. And over here in America, we get the "you ain't black." What is reparations? I don't want my kids growing up in a racial jungle. And then the African who's being apologized to is over there smiling, saying, yes, we accept your apology, thank you. Knowing goddamn well that apology should be for us. Knowing goddamn well that lineage is about us. And knowing goddamn well it was your ancestors, it was my ancestors, it was our ancestors who bear the burden of the transatlantic slave trade. So nobody should ever be trying to take credit for what we went through. And I say we because we are our ancestors. So that's why I say it's all about certified American freedmen. That's why I say it is foundational black Americans, because we built the foundation. And that's why I say it's reparations, war, and peace, because this is all about war. This ain't about playing. This ain't about being nice. This ain't about being sweet. You play, you nice, you sweet, you don't get no money. That's what you want to get. That's how you got to be on it. That's the time, family. So yes, indeed, this is the desperation that they have resorted to. They have now went and tried to replace the foundational black American reparations claim with the African reparations claim. And there's a lot of details to it, and we're going to break that down right here on the Black Alpha Network. Certified salute to my family. I love y'all. The energy is real like it always is, and y'all know I don't get tired. So smash that like button and share this video, family, and we are going to cook starting now. As we break down everything in terms of our reparations, remember, I was always saying that all of a sudden you're starting to see the dominant society Africanize things. Why? It's because our self-identification. Soon as we start to self-identify our lineage, heritage, and culture, I always say that. Foundational black American, certified American freedmen. Once we started to identify that, then the dominant society came back to us and said, don't y'all want to be African? Don't y'all really want to wear a dashiki like me? That's why you see Nancy Pelosi and all the members of Congress wearing dashikis, kneeling and shit. Why are you kneeling with a dashiki on? Colin Kaepernick is a guy from America, and the dashiki comes from Africa. You see how they was trying to intertwine us back with Africa? They started saying, African American, African. Don't you want to be an African American? How about Kwanzaa? How about some Jollof? I'll make it for you personally. They keep trying to associate us with Africa because they want us to stop associating ourselves with freedmen. That's the point. Let me say that again. Goddamn, we cooking, baby. They keep wanting to associate us with Africa because they want us to stop associating ourselves with freedmen. Understand, once we stop identifying ourselves as foundational black American freedmen, reparations is off the table. Off the table. They want us to start talking that Africa shit. On Juneteenth, when you would get on Google, you would see literally African dashiki colors. They would start throwing out the RBG flag. When the fuck has a dominant society ever put up the RBG flag? Not until we started saying FBA. When we started saying FBA, they started saying RBG. RBG, you seen the damn RBG flag flying to Mississippi, and it ain't from black folks. It ain't from black folks, okay? They have this whole push to twist us back in with Africa because we have broken away from it. Back in the old days when black folks were saying, we not really Americans, we Africans. We are Africans from the motherland continent. I'm not from here. And then we started saying, no, this is my country. My ancestors built it, okay? My ancestors built this country, and I am a foundational black American freedman, okay? Keyword, American freedman. Once we started to say that, then all of a sudden, they said, no, we can't have that. That's gonna start too many problems. That self-identification that y'all know I'm always talking about right here on the Black Alpha Network, and I harp on it every episode. Self-identification has been the game changer. When you have somebody with no face, you can say anything to them, you can do anything to them. Understand, we were running around nameless for hundreds of years. Who are we? Colored? Negro? What was the term? African American? That shit just came out in the 80s. The average black person, 25 and down, referred to themselves as an African American their whole life, and they don't even know that African American was just created right before they were born. That's the type of bullshit that they've been trying to do. They've been trying to intertwine us with Africa. Let me give y'all a quote right here. This is a Martin Luther King Jr. quote. And it's one of the Martin Luther King Jr. quotes that they don't like to talk about. The same way that they don't want to talk about the we're coming to get our check speech, and they always want to give us the I have a dream speech. Let me give you a Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. quote about foundational black Americans in Africa. And you only get this right here on the Black Alpha Network exclusive. Make sure you smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. Let's get it. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said in one of his last speeches, he said, "We know nothing about Africa. Although our roots are there in terms of our forebears, but I mean, as far as the average Negro today, he knows nothing about Africa. And I think he's got to face the fact that he is an American. His culture is basically American. And one becomes adjusted to this when he realizes what he is." End quote. Damn, that's fire. God damn, that's fire. Let's go. Let's get it, fam. I'm turned all the way up. That's from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., my family. My beautiful, beautiful, beautiful foundational black American freedman family. Doesn't that sound exactly like what we say today? Doesn't that sound exactly like what foundational black Americans are saying right now in this era? Don't those words ring so true to our movement right here? Yes, they do. He even used the exact same terminologies that we use. Our culture is American. We built this country. We're not intertwined with Africa. We're intertwined with the nation that we built, and the nation that we built is America, the USA. We are all United States of American freedmen. Trust and believe that. And the dominant society knows that. So therefore, they're going back to Africa, to the same people they were in cahoots with to sell black slaves. And now they're trying to make a new deal to where they can put a face of us on them and they can collect all the benefits. The POC couldn't get them in these borders. The minorities couldn't get them in these borders. The black and browns couldn't get them in these borders. So now they fly all the way to the continent and they try to give them our reparations over there in their borders. They cannot separate us. Mind you, black people were already here before slavery. And then when you added slavery and other mass migrations of black folks that built this country, then our essence here and our ancestral presence is stronger than it is anywhere. So therefore, they cannot separate us from this land. You can try. You can get 100 Dr. Umars to tell us that we all African. You can get 100 Nancy Pelosi's to tell us to put on a dashiki. You can go and put the RBG flags on every national television show you can find. That ain't got nothing to do with us. That ain't got a motherfucking thing to do with us. Let me say this. The RBG flag and African colors got more to do with the dominant society than it does with foundational black Americans. Point blank, period, bottom line, end of story, no debate, no compromise. We are the culture. And the culture we represent is right here. Why? Because we created it. So when I tell you that our self-identification has been the most significant thing that has happened in the last 100 years, I mean that shit. I mean that shit. So when American culture spins around and comes right back to us, it's a good thing, family, because it's only America coming right back around to its rightful owners. So when Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. says our culture is American And once we become adjusted to this, and once we realize it, then we know who we are. Listen to that, family. Is that not beautiful? Dig it? For sure. MLK said once we identify that we are Americans, then we know who we are, then we become whole. That is every single thing that we say today. And our brother said this in the 1960s. Do you see why we say our ancestors are with us? Do you see why I say that we are the chosen ones? That right there. That is everything that Jason Black says. That is everything Tariq Nasheed says. That is everything Dr. Claude Anderson has been saying. That is our foundational Black American legend ancestors speaking to us from the past, and we represent in the future. Do you feel me? Goddamn right. Give me a certified salute Black Power Fist if you do. We cooking right here. Special episode. Black AlphaCast. We getting it. Dr. Martin Luther King said every single thing that we're saying, family, and we're repeating it 60 years later, and it's coming true. When I say that our pillars have prophesied things that we live out, our pillars have prophesied things that we live out. This is why we say we're going to get the bag, and we're going to go get the bag. If MLK can tell us that, and then we say it 60 years later, then we gonna say we gonna get the bag, and our offsprings are gonna spin that shit for 60 years later. It ain't nothing new. It ain't nothing new. We got the power to do it. So you see the plays that all the opposition is coming up with. They're flying over to Africa. They're trying to invest in this. Now let's break this down geopolitically, because we do real geopolitical work right here on the Black Alpha Network. Let's talk about this. There's a lot of geopolitical play here. You have America trying to get more influence in Africa, while the Chinese and the Russians are getting a lot of play in Africa. Let's break it down. Yeah, it's about America getting more influence in China. But at the end of the day, you ain't got to bring my reparations up, because it's going to be viewed, and the hustle is that these are reparations for us. And I guarantee you that the dominant society is going to say, why do we got to give FBA reparations? We already gave them to Africa. Y'all know where I'm going with this. And then they're going to say, why do we got to apologize to FBA? We already apologized to Africa. Trust and believe. When Joe Biden went over there and he said something like, I apologize for our original sin to people who were not even the victims of it, he did that shit on purpose. Trust me, that was a play. That was a hustle in the con game, because they're going to say, why give FBA reparations? We already gave $55 billion to Africa. We don't have to pay FBA because we pay the Africans. And y'all know they just one big Negro. That's going to be the play. That was the hustle. They could have went over there and never mentioned anything about slavery. You could have went over there and cut that $55 billion investment, not said a goddamn thing. The very fact that he incited the term slavery, the very fact that he incited the term apology, means he was trying to draw a direct line between our oppression, our reparations, and the Africans. They could have went over there and not mentioned nothing. Why did they bring up our pain and suffering? Why? They could have went over there and just talked about international trade. You go all across the country, you go all across the world, and you speak of international trade. Why did you have to incite the struggle that FBA went through, unless you're trying to hustle FBA? That's why you said it. So all these fake super duper professors who want to say, man, it ain't about reparations, it's about China and Russia. You can be the super duper professor while I'm the scientist, all right? And I'm going to tell you like this. The dominant society has a rhyme and a reason for everything. And the very reason why he went over there and shook hands with the Africans, and the Africans was like, yep, we accept the apology. You already see a cahoots there. Why are they saying that? Why are they talking about accepting the apology when they know goddamn well this was not about them? Why they play that game? Somebody explain to me that. Because they know goddamn well it's all a cahoots. We gonna come over here and cut y'all this check, and we're gonna act like it's something that FBA deserved, but we gonna give it to y'all because y'all gonna be the proxies for foundational Black Americans. That's the hustle, that's the scam, that's the plot, that's the scheme, and I guarantee you, they're gonna start saying, why give FBA reparations? We already gave them to Africans. And the African is gonna do the same thing he did when the Dahomey tribe was rounding us up. He's gonna be a willing culprit. So you have the same exact players of the transatlantic slave trade being the same exact players of this reparations robbery. You have the dominant society making backdoor deals with African leaders so they can undercut FBA the same way that they did it then. They're trying it now. Only this time they're going to try to spice it up, change the words around. That's what they're going to do. Remember what I said, it's all about words. You can listen to what someone says, and then you can find out what type of time they're on. So they're going to try to spin it and twist it, and you're going to already see that this is nothing more than a con and a hustle to undermine foundational Black Americans' reparations claim. The same way while we say lineage based and we deal in specifics, they like to twist and spin words so they can cause confusion. Now, people say this is about China and this is about Russia. Yeah, it is. But it's about China, Russia, and Africa over there in Africa. Over here in America, it's all about undermining our reparations. They want to find something they can point to where they can say, oh, look what we did for black folks. We gave them their reparations. Did you give reparations to FBA? No. Did you give reparations to American freedmen? No. Did you give reparations to the people who were actually the victims of the slave trade? No. But we gave it to the Africans and we'll use them as a proxy for foundational black Americans. They always got it scammed, family. They always got it scammed. So it may look like an investment over there, but over here, it's a hustle. And you already know they're going to sit back and say, well, Joe Biden gave $55 billion to Africans. That's the same as reparations for black Americans, technically. They make excuses all day long. Who? Y'all name them. Is it going to be D.L. Hughley? Is it going to be Bakari Sellers? Is it going to be Van Jones? Y'all find a Democratic shield that's going to come out and somehow tie this in to our reparations claim, and I guarantee you they're going to do it. Guarantee you. They sit there and make up excuses for what Joe Biden hasn't done for black Americans every single day. Oh, Joe Biden let people out on weed. He pardoned the block. Dude, there's no people with weed charges on the federal level. I mean, yeah, I'm just saying I never thought it could possibly happen. Y'all know they're going to find an excuse. And I guarantee you they're going to use this as an excuse for reparations. Somehow, they're going to take this investment for Africa and it's going to be about foundational black American reparations. Yes, they will. Hell, they already do it with welfare. What's the first thing they say with welfare? Why do we got to give blacks reparations? We already give them welfare. And now they're going to say, why do we got to give blacks reparations? We already invested $55 billion in Africa. Technically, it's all the same, isn't it? It's more symbology and it's another gesture. That's the same exact thing that they always run, only now they're doing it on an international level because we have international influence. So everybody over there in Africa, they're dealing with the bribery side. We're over here dealing with the con game side. And they will definitely use this as an undermining tactic because they ran out of every undermining tactic right here inside these borders. They tried every single thing they could do to try to stifle us from our reparations claim. So the last thing that they pulled out, they went way into the bottom of the trick bag. There were no other tricks left in it. And they found this one right here. And they said, let's go invest in Africa and somehow we can connect that to foundational black Americans. How do you know that they try to connect it to foundational black Americans? Because they use foundational black American slavery as an excuse. Why you even bringing up what happened to my ancestors? What do my ancestors' slavery that happened over here in America got to do with $55 billion of investment over in Africa in the year 2022? Why would you even connect those two? Why are they being spoke of in the same sentence, in the same paragraph, in the same phrase? Why? Other than you did that shit for a reason. They know what they doing. They know goddamn well what they doing. They're trying to draw a direct line between the two of them so they can have something to point to why they don't have to give us our money. Point blank, bottom line, and all the minions will be coming out like clockwork trying to connect those same dots. But there isn't nothing to connect. Understand, family, that's like you going across the street and telling the people across the street that you owe them money for what someone else stole from them. You feel me? How the hell you gonna go across the street and tell the neighbors, hey, I'm gonna give you that $30 I owe to my cousin way in another state? Motherfucker gonna look at you like you crazy. And that's exactly what they're doing. They're saying we're investing money to Africans for what we did to foundational black Americans. And they make sure they put it in there. They make sure. Now think about it. Right here in America, Joe Biden says he don't even know what reparations is. Joe Biden says you ain't black if you don't vote for him. Joe Biden said to hell with y'all. Joe Biden said the great Negro. Joe Biden said he don't want his kids growing up in a racial jungle. Joe Biden said he's proud of the 94 crime bill. That's what he said about foundational black Americans. But when it comes to Africa, we stand with you and we apologize. You want to know why it's a hustle to undermine our reparations, family? I'm going to tell you clearly why it's a hustle to undermine our reparations. Because he brought it up. That's why. He wouldn't even brought up slavery if it wasn't a hustle to undermine our reparations. Because it ain't got nothing to do with Africa. Anytime you see somebody bringing up foundational black American struggle, somewhere else where foundational black Americans are not at, they doing that as a con game. And that's exactly what this is, a con game. So he can say, I gave those Africans all those $55 billion, so y'all quit asking me for reparations because y'all all black any goddamn way. That's it, point blank, bottom line. If it wasn't, he wouldn't have said it. Trust and believe. The dominant society don't just go out there and say, we apologize for slavery. They don't just say the original sin. They'll never admit to doing anything wrong unless they're trying to trick you. And that hustle is trying to undermine foundational Black American reparations claims. That is it. They want to draw a direct line between the two of them so they have a direct excuse why we never got the money, but someone else got the money. And mind you, the people that they give the money to are people that are going to be docile anyway. I'm not surprised that they're not trying to give us the money here, but they'll go all the way to Africa and just hand them the money. You know why? Because the folks over there will dance a nice for balls. So they're willing to give the money. They just want to make sure who they give the money to is playing ball. And we know that whole continent plays ball with Massa every time Massa shows up. So that's exactly why. Because here's my thing. What foundational Black Americans got to do with that situation? What foundational Black Americans got to do with your African summit? Why are you bringing up what happened to my ancestors but never acknowledging us? And that's the whole thing, family. That's the whole thing, so you know it's a con game. They're bringing up foundational Black American struggles, and they're not even mentioning foundational Black Americans. In the whole process, they never said a damn thing about us because they're trying to make the Africans play the role of us so they can get the money that belongs to us. Easy work, you can see it, plain and simple. So yeah, family, this is just another con game, another attempt to undermine our reparations claim because they couldn't do it here in these borders, so they got to go take it abroad. They're trying to export our reparations money to the nearest Black person. You feel me? That's exactly what they're doing. Because we are the only Black folks whose hands they don't want that money in. Because we are the only Black folks they know who have the power to flip it. Everybody else will just say, here, boss, what you wants me to do with it. They know foundational Black Americans is going to say, fuck you, pay me. You see the difference between the two of them. Boss, what you wants me to do versus fuck you, pay me is a completely different game. And you already see right now the Africans are over there signing little laws, handing over their resources. So that's what they're doing with their money. And it's funny because Dr. Umar is running around here talking all that shit about foundational Black Americans can't handle the money. How good are the Africans going to handle this $55 billion, Umar? Matter of fact, has Umar said anything? He went on a whole anti-reparations tour for foundational Black Americans. And now his precious Africans and his precious Pan-Africanisms are getting $55 billion from America. He ain't said shit about that money. He ain't said a damn thing. Quiet as the church mouse. Was pocket watching FBA all day, ain't said a goddamn thing about Africans over there with their hand out taking them US dollars. You ain't saying that money's a trap for them. You ain't said nothing about that. You feel me? This how you know you dealing with a chump. Because he'll sit there and run his mouth all day long about reparations that foundational Black Americans are owed. But he don't say shit about money that Africans got their hand out for. You feel me? He ain't running around here saying they gonna waste their money on Jollof. They gonna waste their money on Afro beats. He ain't saying none of that shit. So the best thing for him to do is go ahead and sit down and stay down. Yes, indeed. So we see the con game and we see the scam. And mind you, this wouldn't be the first time that the dominant society tried to undermine our reparations claim by inserting another group. Nah. Y'all remember when they were trying to bring up the Native Americans so they can stifle our reparations claim? Joe Biden said he would only support reparations if Native Americans get them. They already do.
But I can't believe that whatever it is, the African American community would not support what I'm talking about. In addition to,
I don't think we have to. Let me ask you this then. Let me ask you this so we can move on because we've got to get some phone calls in as well. But let me ask you this then. If in fact a calculation comes to you that you are satisfied with, would you then say, I'm for reparations?
The answer is it would depend on what it was, and will it include Native Americans as well? Will it include Native Americans as well? Will it include Native Americans as well? Will it include Native Americans as well?
Elizabeth Warren said she would only support reparations if Native Americans got them. They already do. And what's that old wrinkly W lady that a lot of Black folks was trying to invite to the cookout? Jane Elliott. Remember? She said she only supports reparations if we give it to the Native Americans first.
How do you feel about reparations for Black Americans, and others, that especially in this country that had to deal with the atrocities of, people who classify themselves as white?
Well, let me put it this way. I'm going to lose most of your Black audience now, but this is the way it is. The first modern human beings that came to this continent are Native Americans. Now, if you're going to give reparations, we better start giving reparations to the people whom we raped, killed, murdered in various ways, and whose land we took. Let's start there. I'm all for reparations from there. You realize that they were the first Americans. So if we're going to start with reparations, let's make reparations to the first people, the first black people who came to this continent.
Spoilers. They've already tried to undermine our reparations by bringing up another group. As a matter of fact, there was a Native American lady, and she came out and told the Democratic Party, quit bringing up Native Americans when it comes to black people's reparations claim. Yeah, a Native American woman told the Democratic Party, quit bringing us up to undermine not giving FBA reparations. And boy, they sweep that shit under the rug. They zipped her up real tight. They said, let's keep her quiet. And it's sad that they were trying to use her community to undermine our community. And when she came out and told them to knock that shit off, Native Americans, we already got our reparations. They said, shh, be quiet, don't say nothing. So the hustle of using other groups to stifle our reparations has always happened, and that's what they're trying to do right now with Africa. Only difference is, with Africa, they're trying to replace us with them, even though they were the culprit and we were the victims. Ain't that something? And don't the dominant society always run around? I'm talking about for years. Y'all all heard this one, right? Y'all remember always hearing this? It ain't about racism. Black folks sold other blacks. Ain't that the first thing they said? They said that shit for years. Why are y'all getting mad at us? Because y'all sold each other. That's the first thing they always said. So it's funny how it went from Africans sold y'all to the Africans are actually y'all, so they should get y'all money. You see how quick these motherfuckers will flip it? That's why we say supremacy plays both sides of the argument. And this Africanizing of our culture is their number one tactic. They understand that they cannot stop us from claiming our lineage, so they're trying to go around that by trying to put African lineage on top of us. And we reject it, we reject it, we reject it. They can wear all the dashikis, they can put up the RBG flags everywhere, they can keep talking about Wakanda and the Woman King. Why y'all think they keep giving us those type of movies? Why y'all think they keep trying to force that culture on us? I'll tell you why. Because they know if they can force that culture on us and they can Africanize foundational black American culture, then they can Africanize our reparations. And that's what they're doing. They're trying to Africanize our reparations the same way they try to Africanize our ancestors, the same way they try to Africanize our culture, the same way they try to Africanize our holidays. Why you think they were always trying to give us Kwanzaa? Black folks didn't fuck with no Kwanzaa. Hell to the no. We represent foundational black American culture. Kwanzaa is an African culture. You're talking about two completely different nationalities. See, they don't want nationalities to exist. Everybody else can have a nationality. You can't go to a Puerto Rican and say he's a Mexican. You can't go to a Mexican and say he's a Cuban. You can't go to a Cuban and say he's a Venezuelan. They're going to check you real quick. But when it comes to black folks, everybody's just black. You see what I'm saying? They want to Africanize our culture so they can Africanize our reparations. And when they Africanize our reparations, then the money goes to everybody except for us. Yes, that's the new play they're doing, family, so they can undercut us. They're trying to blur the lines of the transatlantic slave trade. They want to take the victims and make them the culprits. They want to take the culprits and make them the victims. They want to have this whole whitewashing of the transatlantic slave trade and make it look like it was about the dominant society and Africans and leave out the foundational black American presence. And you want to know how that's real? Ain't that exactly what happened at that American and African summit? It was a bunch of them and none of us. A whole bunch of W men talking to a bunch of African men about freedmen struggles, but no freedmen present. And that's the Africanizing of our reparations, the same way they tried to POC our reparations, and the same way they tried to black and brown our reparations. So it ain't no big shock. It's exactly what they do, and that's why we expose them and we call that shit out, and it takes real ones to do so. And as I always allude to, we are the realest. You want to see how they're trying to Africanize our culture? Peep game. Notice how they slowly try to take our ancestors and place it back in Africa. Notice how they try to slowly take our culture and place it back in Africa. Notice how they try to take our struggle and slowly place it back in Africa. And now they're trying to slowly take our reparations and place that back in Africa. Because if they can place us over there, then they don't have to cut the check for us here. That's what a snake will do. Same way they try to make all these African movies now. That's more of them trying to Africanize us. Why you think they give us shit like the Woman King? Why you think they give a shit like Wakanda forever? Because if they can Africanize every other part of our culture, then they can Africanize our reparations. And you see them trying to pull that shit right now. I already knew what they was doing. I already knew. Soon as Joe Biden was over there talking all that friendly shit with Africa and saying how we're going to trade and we're going to invest, and then out of nowhere he said, we're sorry for slavery. We're sorry for slavery that happened in America to FBA, but don't nobody mention FBA? Oh, I already knew the con game was coming. Why would you go to the continent of the slave trader and apologize for the slaves? Why would you go to the continent of the culprit and apologize for the victim? Why would you apologize to the Africans way over in Africa when you got the victims of slavery right here next door? They're your goddamn neighbor. So you walk around your neighbor, you walk around all these foundational Black American freedmen who have had to wear the burden of slavery. You skipped over us even though we right next to you, and you went all the way over the ocean to Africa to apologize to them. Why would somebody do all those things? Do they do it because they just don't know? Do they do it because they don't understand? Everybody understands slavery. A 7-year-old understands that we were slaves. Matter of fact, when the W is 7 years old, they saying shit like, go back to Africa. So everybody knows it. Why would you do all of those things right there? That's because you're using it as a hustle to undermine us. Yes, they're trying to put an African face on foundational Black Americans over here, and then they're trying to put a foundational Black American face on Africans over there. Oh yeah, we own it. You gotta be a soldier to see that. You got to be able to read between the lines to see the details. See, a lot of folks is only seeing the China and the Russia and the resources. They were saying, man, this is about the resources over there, man. They trying to hustle the Africans. Yeah, that's over there. As I said, right here, it's going to be used as a con game. How long until the Democratic shields come out and start pointing to that situation as some type of tangible for us? Because that's what it's going to be, family. They're going to point to that situation as some type of victory for foundational Black Americans. They're going to point to that situation as some type of tangibles for foundational Black Americans. You know goddamn well. Give it about 6 months, and every Democratic shield in the country is going to be trying to say that's some type of victory for us. Damn right. Roland Martin going to be the main one. He going to be on TV talking about, y'all, stupid FBAs. Y'all, getting mad about reparations, and the president just invested $55 billion in Africa. That's a victory. Yup. And then Van Jones gonna come and he's gonna say, it ain't reparations, but he paid Africa. Then D.L. Hughley, it ain't reparations, but he paid Africa. Then Angela Rye, it ain't reparations, but he paid Africa. Bakari Sellers, it ain't reparations, but he paid Africa. That's going to be the next hustle. It's going to be he didn't give y'all reparations, but he paid Africa. So y'all should take that as a victory and be quiet. Guarantee it. That's what it's going to be. It's going to be it's a start. Watch that. It's going to be he paid the Africans, and it's also going to be it's a start. That's what they're going to do, family. They're going to talk about how paying $55 billion to Africa is a start. And they're going to try to utilize that to stall us for years. It was a start. The same way they use HR 40 and put that on the table so they can stall us out and be like, we tried it. It's on the table. It didn't do shit. It didn't go nowhere. We don't support it, but we put it on the table. Let's stall them out for 40 years. They're going to do the same thing with this. Every time we bring up reparations, they're going to say, we haven't put reparations forward, but we paid the Africans, and that's a start. $55 billion, it's a start. It ain't money in y'all pockets. It doesn't belong to you. It doesn't even concern them, but it's a start. They're going to use that whole motherfucking African summit as it's a start for reparations. It's a good starting point. Family, when y'all see that shit on the news, please DM me. Please come back to the Black AlphaCast and let's talk about it. Because we know that shit's going to happen. I promise you. That shit will happen within the next 6 months. Somebody is going to say it wasn't reparations, but it was a start. So the money that they paid to Africans way the fuck over in Africa is a start for our reparations. And they gonna try to run with that symbology all fucking day. And we gonna break their ass down then, the same way we breaking their ass down now. Know the game, see the game, ain't going for the game. As they say, a toast between the slave masters and the slave traders, that ain't an apology, that's a slap in our face. And that's exactly what it was. That wasn't the America and African summit, that was the slave master and slave trader summit. And remember, that slave master and that slave trader who just met up in the year 2022 to give reparations and apologize and hug and toast to each other, all they're doing is continuing the same relationship they've had since day one. So yeah, they over there getting their resources took. We know that. We know damn well Russia's coming taking their stuff, China's coming taking their stuff, America's coming to take their stuff, but they're willing to act like FBA, accept reparations on our half, take money on our half, because that's all they did. They accepted that apology on behalf of us. Mind you, the African slave trader accepted an apology and accepted a paycheck on behalf of foundational black Americans. In the meantime, the slave master's gonna go over there and colonize all that shit. This is where they are. So they're gonna be over there getting their resources stole even more. That's why they're over there right now, signing deals. Everybody got tanks and bulldozers over there so they can build up Africa. Africans are over there getting their shit took. But guess what? They've always got their shit took. So has anything changed? Has anything changed? You have this slave master, that slave master, all over in Africa, stealing their resources right in front of them. And the African leaders are doing what? Signing deals, handing that shit away, and stealing from foundational black Americans. That sounds like the transatlantic slave trade all over again, family. As we say, the more things change, the more they stay the same. But right now, in this era, the more they stay the same, the more we stay on game. I ain't worried about what's going on about Africa getting their resources took for them. Fuck that. That's their problem. I'm worried about foundational black American freedmen, my lineage. So over there, it may have been the China-Russia hustle. Over here, it's going to be the it ain't reparations, but we paid Africa hustle. And that's exactly what I want the family to focus on. All these folks was getting super duper x-ray vision and they was seeing over the whole point. They were saying, man, it ain't really about reparations, man. It's really about China and Russia and the influences. Fuck that. Over there it is. Right here, I need to worry about our business. And I know exactly that's going to be the con game, because that's the same con game the Democrats always do. They always take a bunch of bullshit and then they try to sell it to us like it's a victory. And this is going to be the next one. They'll take an all lives matter policy and tell us how it's a win for us. They'll take a first black and tell us how it's a win for us. So now they're going to pay Africa and tell us how it's a win for our reparations movement. Joe Biden knew exactly what he was doing when he went over there. That's why he purposely apologized, and that's why he purposely mentioned original sin. He brought up every single thing that applies to foundational black Americans because he was talking to foundational black Americans. They are using the Africans as a proxy for our reparations claim. That's exactly what it is. We don't have to pay foundational black Americans because we'll just pay these Africans and pretend they're foundational black Americans. And that's what it all was. That's what the whole summit was. It was a bunch of Africans pretending like they were FBA. That's what it was. The way he was talking was like he was talking to us, but really he was talking to Africans. He was speaking about slavery that impacted us, but he was talking to the African slave trader. It was a bunch of motherfuckers cosplaying foundational black Americans from top to bottom, from pillar to post, inside out. The African was over there acting like they were us. The same way you see them over there dancing and rapping, trying to mimic our culture, putting on Timberlands and cocking their hat to the side. He was doing the same exact thing in the political world. Did y'all see any of those Africans stop and say, whoa, 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 we're not foundational black Americans. You did harm to them. Why don't you go talk all that apology shit to them? Why don't you talk that original sin shit to them? Why are you coming over here and talking to us? The African didn't do that. He didn't say a goddamn thing. He sat there and he shook hands and he accepted an apology that's really meant for us. That's like someone stealing your car and going to apologize for the guy down the street. That's exactly what happened. The African had no problem acting like he was FBA. So you had the dominant society pretending to be remorseful. He's giving money that's meant for us to them. And the African was playing right along. Right along. Let me tell you something for certain. Two people in that room. The dominant society know goddamn well that was about foundational black Americans. And the Africans knew goddamn well that was about foundational black Americans. But it did not stop them from accepting that money. So basically the Africans were saying, if we got to play like we're FBA, then we will play like FBA to get this money. They know goddamn well, because there'd be no money over there if it wasn't for our reparations struggle. So this is exactly the play and the con game that they're trying to run. They're trying to Africanize our reparations claim, and they're using Africans to cosplay us so they can go give our money to them because they do not want it in our hand. And Joe Biden knew exactly what the fuck he was doing, because if not, he wouldn't have said what the fuck he said. Trust me, when supremacy says something, they say it with a reason, and that reason is always anti-black racism. So family, we own it. We breaking it down right here on the Black Alpha Network. You know, you gonna get them fine details. You gonna get them fine nuances. It ain't just gonna be the headline. It's gonna be the truth behind the headline. It's gonna be the facts behind the paragraph. We gonna get to the real details. Every nook and cranny, we're gonna understand what's really happening beyond all the bullshit that they put in front of you. We gonna get to the real truth. As I say, truth checks, fact checks, reality checks, and that right there, family, is all three of them. Yes, indeed. So be careful of the, we didn't give y'all reparations, but we paid Africa. That's coming, that's on its way, and when it gets here, the real certifieds will be waiting on it. And how do you know that they've been trying to Africanize us? Not just Google, not just the dashikis, not just all that shit. Y'all remember when they were running around here openly telling black folks go back to Africa? Remember that? Remember Roland Martin had a whole special talking about if y'all tired of racism in America, just go to Africa. They got flights to Ghana right now. It's 22% off. Go, please. Roland Martin takes all his orders from the dominant society. So if you want to know what the dominant society is thinking, or if you want to know what the dominant society's next hustle is, watch exactly what comes out of a Democratic shill's mouth. Because what comes out of a Democratic shill's mouth was already given to him by the dominant society. So when Roland Martin and all these Democratic shills were on this whole push this summer about how we need to go to Africa and we should all just go back over there and America's too hard, y'all know goddamn well that was an attempt to Africanize us. They've been trying to Africanize us. They want to Africanize us. They are desperate to Africanize us. They want to unfoundational us, and they want to Africanize us. Y'all follow me? This is what they want. They want us to stop being freedmen. They want to unfreedmen us. They want us to be Africans, because once they have us as Africans, they can con us, they can hustle us. And the first step of that was this American and Africa summit where they were talking to the African and the African was playing freedman. That's all that was. The African was playing freedman. He put on his freedman mask and he was over there accepting money that belongs to us. He was accepting cash that belongs to us based on the onus of us. Now, mind you, family, when Joe Biden goes over there and he starts talking about the original sin and slavery, that is him saying this money is based on slavery. If not, he wouldn't have said it. He could have easily went over there and said this is just about a trade agreement. This is just about a union. This is just about geopolitics. Easily. When he said this is about slavery, apology, and original sin. And then his next statement was, here's $55 billion. That is him connecting the two of them directly. And you wouldn't have mentioned, talked about, or spoke about those two directly side by side unless you were trying to connect the two of them. When you talk about slavery and then you say, here's $55 billion, that means you're connecting the $55 billion to slavery. That, by definition, is reparations. We're over here connecting slavery to money, and they don't want to give us $1. So Joe Biden knew exactly what he was doing. He knew exactly what he was saying, and he was trying to connect that $55 billion to slavery. If not, he wouldn't have said slavery and $55 billion in the same sentence. Trust and believe when I tell you that shit. And the African is sitting there shaking his head like that money belongs to him, knowing goddamn well the reparations money from slavery belongs to us. Then you see the dominant society trying to hustle us. You see the African trying to cosplay us, and foundational black Americans see through all that shit at the same damn time. When you own it, and we stay on it. And oh shit, we got facts. Look at the words he's using. He's using the same exact words that are a part of our reparations claim. He's saying things like investment. He's saying things like growth. He's saying things like reparative. Reading straight off the supremacist teleprompter. Goddamn right. But you notice when he's over there talking to Africans, it's all this empowerment, it's all this money, it's all this reparative justice. But over here in America, it's the you ain't black. So you see how he treats the African with love, with apologies, with a we sorry for slavery, and how he treats black Americans with the I'm not responsible for what my ancestors did, get over it. If anybody wants to pay somebody reparations for slavery, foundational black Americans are right here next to you. So how do you cut a $55 billion check for slavery, but you don't give it to the black American victim who's standing right next to you? You send that shit way over there to Africa and another continent. You only doing that again for a hustle. Understand, they only say what they say if they trying to hustle you. They only do what they do if they trying to hustle you. And they only speak what they speak if they're trying to hustle you. All of the elements are right there, family. Look what they're doing. Look what they're saying. And you can see already their plan. And their plan is to undermine our reparations. And they're going to use the African cosplaying us as a means to do so. So Africans get a $55 billion investment. Black Americans get the you ain't black.
I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black. I'm announcing a new initiative, the Digital Transformation with Africa. And you ain't black. Working with Congress to invest $350 billion. And you ain't black. To facilitate more than almost $500 million in financing to make sure people across Africa can participate in the digital economy. I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black. That means programs to train African entrepreneurs, and you ain't black. Code and build skills that need to start their own businesses, and you ain't black. To secure good paying jobs and technology firms. I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
Yeah, y'all see the difference right there? You see the difference. You're not speaking to anybody on them terms unless you up to something. So this is the we're all black, and that's how they're gonna do it. They're gonna say, well, we're all black, and this gives them the opportunity now just to give reparations to anybody who's black, and that's what they wanted to do in the first place. Family, we done took this all the way around full circle. They were trying over here to have flat blackness and give our reparations just to anybody who's black. And since they could not do that here in these borders, now they're trying to give our reparations money to Africans knowing goddamn well they ain't us. Let's get this clear. Everybody knows goddamn well that money belongs to foundational black Americans, not the African. Everybody knows goddamn well that money belongs to the slaves and not the slave trader who is the African. Hell, the African wasn't even over here. Slavery happened here in America, but yet you're apologizing to Africans over in Africa. Everybody went along and played. That's what they was doing, family. They was playing. They was playing, they put on a big goddamn concert, and they was just acting like they was us. The dominant society was acting like he was talking to us. The African was acting like he was us, and FBA was nowhere around. Family, they had a whole summit about foundational black Americans being enslaved, and the dominant society was playing the slave master, and the African was playing the slave. Even though the dominant society was the slave master and the African was the slave trader. For the African, he gets $55 billion based on our pain and suffering. And also that lets the African off the hook. So now he could play the victim of slavery instead of a culprit of slavery. Think about that, family. When the African is over there accepting our reparations money and the African is over there accepting an apology on our behalf, that is letting him off the hook as if he didn't play a role in us being enslaved. Yes, you see what he has to gain from it, right? Now, if y'all want to break down even more elements and expose it even further, then let's look at the money, family. Let's look at the money. Do you know who's going to be paying for those African investment reparations? Y'all want to know who? Foundational black American taxpayers. So the same exact money that they say they don't have for us, we don't know where to find it, the money just can't be counted, right? We bring up reparations and it's, I don't know where the money's at now. How we gonna get the money? But yet, that $55 billion worth of investments to Africa, that's coming out of foundational black American taxpayer dollars. So the same money that they're using our struggle to finance is the same money that we're going to end up having to pay. So therefore, the Biden administration is using foundational black American reparations claims to feed Africa money that he's taking from the pockets of foundational black Americans right here in America, average, everyday working class people. Mr. Jim Crow Joe, Mr. I can't remember what day it is, what time it is, and I damn sure can't remember what year it is, but that anti-black racism sure always seems to be on autopilot, don't it? I'm telling you, they'll lose their whole memory, lose their whole mind, have every form of memory loss, but still know how to be anti-black racist front, back, side to side. But hey, since we cooking and we rolling, let's go down the list. Let's break down all the fine elements of this situation to show you how even more fucked up it is and how the con game's in full effect. First, they're paying $55 billion to the group that actually aided in selling foundational black Americans as slaves. But they won't pay that money to the descendants of those actual slaves. Even further, family, he's not apologizing to the slaves. No, because remember, we were the slaves. We were the victims. He told us if you don't vote for him, you ain't black. He's actually apologizing to the descendants of the slave traders. He apologized to the slave trader like he's apologizing to the slaves. Ain't that fucked up? Or foundational black Americans get over it. It was a long time ago. But all these African leaders, they play all the sides of the fence. All the sides of the fence. As we continue, it really looks like this is their reward for selling the slaves. That's like going back and saying, I appreciate all those slaves you sold to me way back in the 1300s and the 1400s. Here's a little kickback. That's what it looked like. I ain't saying it is. I'm just saying it sure as hell looks like it. Once again, apologizing to the slave trader like he was the actual slave. You do something like that and you're gonna look fucked up. And they look fucked up. Moving on. They're actually paying the people who got paid for selling black folks. So they got a couple checks. They got the checks for when they sold black folks the first time. And now, years later, they're getting more checks for selling us the first time. So they got a double payment. More fucked up. And family, let's not forget that in 1975, Joe Biden's, he said he'd be damned if he feels responsible for what happened 300 years ago. And now he's saying, we're sorry. Boy, they just keep getting more fucked up and more fucked up by the second. And to add even more money on top of that, Joe Biden has literally spent billions of dollars to the Ukraine. Oh, by the way, they just passed another billion to the Ukraine. Billions of dollars to the Ukraine, billions of dollars to Latin America, and now billions of dollars to Africa, but yet not a dime for foundational Black Americans. Instead, foundational Black Americans got Juneteenth. That's the exchange. Somebody told me anybody but Trump. Damn. Reparations, family. It's all about reparations. This is definitely the reparations era. It has to be, because everybody's concerned with our reparations. Everybody thinks about our reparations. They cannot stop. Ever since reparations came into play, which we brought into play, everybody's had their fucking hand out. I'm telling you, family, I literally mean it. Every single group on the planet has tried to get our reparations. Now they're talking about fucking dogs should get reparations. Cats, squirrels, they just want to hand it to everybody. These motherfuckers wasn't even thinking about reparations 5 years ago. Definitely not 10 years ago. Those of us who are old enough to remember, and I'm still in my 30s, y'all. Those of us who are old enough to remember, do y'all remember back when reparations was a joke? When people wouldn't even acknowledge it? It'd be like, oh, they'll never give us reparations. Matter of fact, you had the dominant society and all these other groups. Matter of fact, whoa. Let me run it back 2 times. I'm gonna break it down categorically. First thing, you had defeated ass black folks. And they were saying, man, they ain't never gonna give us reparations. Y'all crazy. They crazy if they ever think they gonna get reparations. Man, I don't even want them. Why we want reparations? Not like they gonna give it to us. Y'all remember that shit? Yes, we do. Okay, let's go to the dominant society. They've been running the same excuse they run now. The dominant society has always been on some, man, why do you need reparations? What about that group? What about that group in Poland? What about that group in Iceland or Alaska? What about all the people of the North Pole? Does Santa's little helpers get reparations? They do labor. They was talking all that shit. They wanted fucking Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. They wanted Prancer and all the other motherfuckers to get reparations. They were trying to throw everybody in the reparations claim, but they would denounce it because they understood the average black person was defeated anyway. They were very comfortable about reparations when the average black person was walking around here with their head down, docile, saying, man, we ain't never going to get it. You seen one look on the dominant society's face when they were dealing with that black person, and now you see a completely different look when they're dealing with these black people. See, when we're defeated, we're passive, and we have that mentality of, he's not going to give it to us. W's is walking around here smiling, laughing, making jokes and shit. Y'all know, toasting, celebrating. Yeah, they done put the motherfucking glasses down though, huh? They done ran out of wine, ain't they? That little face ain't showing their crooked ass teeth no motherfucking more, are they? Now they're scared. Now when you look at them right in their eyes, you see fear. You see people who understand. You're not dealing with the they's not gonna give it to us anyway, people. You dealing with the cut the fucking check. And cut the check is different than everything. That's why I love the term cut the check. Man, we done came out with reparations and changed the game, y'all. We didn't come out saying, give us the money that we're owed. We don't say that shit. This ain't Black Lives Matter, okay? We're not sitting around saying, Black Lives Matter. Be nice to us. We ain't saying that shit. We came out the gate with this reparations era and said, cut the check. We came out the gate with this reparations era and said reparations over everything. Tangibles or else. Everything we say has an exclamation point at the end. Everything we say is definitive, strong, no middle ground. We're not out here asking. We're out here making demands. When you ask, that's a different story. When you beg, that's a different story. When you make a demand, that's telling somebody what I always say right here on the Black Alpha Network. That is, you have 2 choices. And now they all have to face the reality of those 2 choices. We didn't give them 3, not 4, not 5, not 6. We didn't say, give it up or we're going to keep asking. Give it up or can we beg? Give it up or good trouble. We didn't say none of that shit. We said, give that shit up or you going to get it took. And now those smiles done turned into frowns. That happiness done turned into fear. Now that same motherfucker talking about Santa's little helpers getting reparations is the same motherfucker who can't sleep at night about FBA reparations. Game changer, and we are the ones who have changed it. So yes, family, it's all about reparations. Oh, and by the way, like I said, you had defeated black folks, you had W's who were dodging the question, and the POCs and all them, they didn't even know how to fucking spell reparations, all right? If we're going back 5 years ago, 10 years ago, we can go back 2 years ago. There wasn't a POC minority group in the country that was thinking about no damn reparations. I'm telling y'all, they probably didn't even know how to spell the word. Only thing they know how to do is sit back, watch what we do, and try to jump on our bandwagon so they can steal what we create. They have a whole existence based on stealing what foundational black Americans create. They don't know how to get it on their own. I'm telling y'all, when you got somebody that knows how to get dinner on the table tonight by 8 o'clock, and you got somebody that does not know how to get dinner on the table by fucking 12 o'clock, Those are two different mentalities and two different worlds. In the world we live in a world of creation, of being an architect. They live in a world of being a weasel, trying to steal and trying to get what we get. That's why wherever we go, there's always these motherfuckers hovering around us like flies, just flying around us, wait till we get something and they can jump in and grab it. Y'all notice that? Why you think they always in our business? Why y'all think they always in our reparations panels? They always come to our protests. Think about it. The whole world that is anti-black always wants to be in the middle of black business. Why you want to be in the middle of black business? You don't ever want to be around black folks when you're doing your own little personal thing. But whenever we doing our personal thing, you can't stop PLCs from coming up. They pop up every goddamn where. You can't beat them off with a stick. All of them show up around us. And there's literally 100-year history of that shit happening. Because they know that protest, that we're going to create some real change, they can get in on it. Those reparations, they can get in on it. Those tangibles, they can get in on it. Man, when black folks are out here putting in that work, everybody wants to show up because they can't put in the work they damn self. This ain't no secret. We all know it. And foundational black Americans, we the main ones telling everybody that. That's why I say we got to keep them away from our protests and keep them away from our reparations panel. We are the only folks that got to keep other groups away from our personal business affairs. That's it. Nobody else has this problem. No one's running around saying, y'all got to keep them FBAs off that Ukrainian panel because we don't give a fuck about their panel. No one's running around here saying, y'all got to keep them FBAs off that immigration panel because we don't give a fuck about their panels. We are out here doing our own thing, consistently, constantly doing our own thing. Now it's funny, they'll be all up in our panels and our affairs, they'll be on our protests and every goddamn thing. But they don't ever want us around when they get in their bag. Yup, whenever that law or policy's written for them, they don't never want to see no FBAs around. Nope, not at all. They got their little panels where they're getting all them reparations and resources and crime laws written for them. They don't ever want to share. So basically it's a system of FBA shares with the world and then the world says, mine, stay away. That's why we got to regulate and keep motherfuckers out the game. And when you deal with the reparations movement, which we're all a part of right now, we got to keep motherfuckers away by regulating, because it's all about it. I mean, look right now, look at everybody out here. Every single day, if you look at this year in 4 quarters, it started off with people saying, no reparations, y'all don't need it. And then when they realized that we was getting close to it and we weren't gonna stop, then they said, well, how about we all get in on the panel? Y'all remember that? That's what it went from. It went from, y'all don't deserve reparations. And when they realized that wasn't going to stop us, then they switched to, okay, can we all get reparations? You remember the, can we all just get along? That shit done turned into, can we all get the bag? You feel me? So first came the denial. Second came the inclusion. Then all of a sudden they wanted to start putting their names in the hat and saying, well, we're entitled to it too because we're all this. We're entitled to it too because we're all that. First it was, we're all black, and then it became we're all fucking humans, and anybody who had a bad name called to them. Then they started trying to do all that. And then when they realized that shit didn't work, then it turned into muddy the waters. Then it turned into what, when, who, why, how. And y'all know what I always say, whenever they cannot confuse you, they just start throwing fucking words everywhere so they can go get you in a different direction. And since we didn't fall for that bullshit, then they really started getting pissed. And now we're in the portion of our reparations movement where they're desperate. So let me run that all the way back, family. You had the denial, then you had the inclusion, then you had the confusion, and now you have the desperation. And they're just saying and doing any fucking thing because they understand they are on their last straw. We have not stopped. We have not folded. We didn't get tired and lay down for a year. Okay? We actually stayed persistent and got stronger with time. You feel me? You ever heard the term finish strong? We actually got stronger. We started going harder. We're like Muhammad Ali, Sugar Ray Robinson. As the fight went on, we got better. Where everybody else was starting to wear down, quit, couldn't keep up, we kept going. Think about this, family. All these other groups aren't even involved in our reparations movement. They're not even fighting. They're not going through the strife. They're not going through all of the Olympics. But yet they're getting tired trying to steal. And we're getting stronger trying to create. How the hell is the motherfucker who's trying to steal getting tired? The motherfucking thief is getting sleepy. How the fuck is the thief getting sleepy, but FBAs, we getting stronger? That lets you know we not the same. We ain't built the same. They ain't built like us. Ain't nobody built like us. What goes on inside of a freedman is some shit ain't nobody ever saw before. And the only people who know about it is us because we are the ones doing it. Point blank. These motherfuckers out here trying to steal our reparations and they getting tired doing that. Oh man, I'm just tired. I tried to lie to him, that shit didn't work. I tried to deceive him, that shit didn't work. I called Joe Biden to help me, he couldn't do it. Kamala couldn't do it. I done called up Africa now. I got Mr. Lumbumba trying to steal the reparations. I'm just tired. Them FBAs ain't gonna quit. Boy, we so used to the yes we can era, they'd have gave up a long time ago. The good trouble era, they would have allowed us to whoop their ass and gave us the money. These FBAs today, this black grassroots era today, they are persistent. They are determined. They are ruthless. And every last one of them terms is absolutely correct. And I'm going to add one more. Exceptional. Exceptional by nature. And this is what you're dealing with. So family, we're finishing strong. When I'm seeing 70-year-old grandmothers out there attending these reparations panels, we on one. Yes, we are. I'm seeing mamas and daddies taking their kids to these reparations panels. Y'all notice that this reparations movement has freedmen from all walks of life? You have upper class freedmen, lower class, middle class, older, younger, baby boomers, millennials. You have children, offspring, East Coasters, West Coasters, Southerners, Midwesterners. Folks is flying in from Chicago, Milwaukee, New Jersey, Baltimore, Boston, California on fire right now. And we're laying down the blueprint and the template is being laid. Once that first domino falls, and it looks like it's going to fall out in California, then everything is going to start to take place and we're watching it. So we are all participating in it. That's why I say we are reparations warriors. You feel me? This is reparations war and peace because these other motherfuckers is at war with us. These other motherfuckers ain't playing about our money. Trust me, I'm telling you, reparations is the thing that they want to stop the most. Have y'all even heard the term HR 40? What have you heard more recently? HR 40 or California Reparations Task Force? No one even talks about HR 40. This is how we powerful, family. We talking about HR 40 that they've been using for years to distract us, and that shit has been canceled. Clyburn, Sheila Jackson Lee, they don't give a fuck. Sheila Jackson Lee came out a couple days ago talking about HR 40, and motherfuckers was like, yeah, 1981 called, and they want your little HR 40 back. Get the fuck out of here. And that shit wasn't heard. It wasn't even a peep. Black folks have canceled her bullshit out to the point where she is mute. Okay, Clyburn mute. So that means that we have canceled every little fucking Democratic distraction, all the POC distractions, this little shit they doing in Africa distraction out the paint, gone. You feel me? Look what's going on out there in California. Our brothers and sisters are out there, and salute to them, putting money on the table, and we talking numbers. And you're gonna see a whole lot of debris and a whole lot of confusion, as I broke down earlier, the different steps of how they try to play us. But our brothers and sisters out there is ready, y'all. They ready. And now you guys are starting to see our brothers and sisters out in Baltimore, out in New York, NYC, salute to New York. They out there doing it. So it's literally going from East Coast to West Coast, the Midwest in between, the South in between. You're starting to see this reparations wildfire take over. And not just in terms of the name reparations, I'm talking about the action of reparations. And it's all being done by us, the Certified Reparations Task Force. You feel me? This is who we are. This is what we're doing. And we're making it happen. Yes, they're out there trying to run a lot of games, but yes, we out here running game on their asses at the same goddamn time. And that's what it is. And that's very, very respectful of us, because we are staying true to the movement. We're not bowing down, we're holding it down. Big ass difference. So my family out there, keep on pushing the line. I don't care if they're talking about reparations in your town, if they're talking about reparations in your county. If it is being spoke of and it refers to foundational Black American freedmen only, go on out there and give them hell. I salute you on the Black Alpha Network. Hit me up and I'll help you any way I possibly can. Matter of fact, I have had people DM me, and if I haven't got back to you, I promise I'm going to, because I got a lot of them. I have a lot of people who have DM me talking about getting political power and talking about getting a reparations movement started in their own towns. So I will get back to you and we will make this motherfucking thing crack. You feel me? So let's keep up the movement and let's keep our eyes on our brothers and sisters everywhere now. You feel me? You ain't got to just live in that county or that city or that state to assist. That's another thing we starting to notice. When our brother Marcel Dixon ran in South Carolina, he was getting donations from all the 50 states. I'm telling you, wherever an American freedman is, I'm there. If I'm not there in the physical, I'm there in the spirit. When we had the reparations rally, for those of us who were honored to attend, that was great. But we also had brothers and sisters who were not fortunate enough to attend, but they were there in spirit. And that's why brothers was walking around with cameras and capturing the moment for everybody to pull in. So California, we see you. Oh yes, we the fuck do. And we see our brothers and sisters all across the country. And you know who else sees us all across the country? Other countries. Yep, our reparations movement has went over the ocean, y'all. That motherfucker done went over mountains, hills, lakes, waterfalls, rivers. Everywhere you are on this planet, they are talking about reparations for foundational Black Americans. It is international. You understand what I'm saying? This domestic reparations claim has become international news. Yes, it has. It's to the point where you're starting to see motherfuckers from different countries trying to run interference. It's one thing when you got motherfuckers right here in America trying to run interference. We already know that. We expect that. We used to that. Foundational Black Americans can't even walk up the street without somebody trying to put their nose in our business. We got to deal with that all day. But now you seeing motherfuckers with different accents speaking on our reparations. We already had Mr. Lumbumba out here talking about some, thank you for the apology, brother. Thank you for the slave trade. We apologize to you too, massa. Now cut us the check, Mr. Biden. You feel me? So you already got that happening. You already had the POCs running around here saying, reparations for all of us, we're brothers. You already had that happening. Man, now y'all got motherfuckers coming out from the UK talking about it. Yes, you got motherfuckers saying, why don't we all get the reparations? Why not for us too, right here in Liverpool? You understand what I'm saying? I think that was UK. That might have been motherfucking like German or some shit. Who give a fuck? Close enough. At the end of the goddamn day, they ain't got no fucking business talking about FBA affairs, so they need to sit their tea and crumpets ass the fuck down.
And personally, Rita, I've got a business idea. I'm going to go to California. I'm going to set up a totally crock business, certifying people to pretend that they are actually the descendants of slaves, so they can all get $233,000 and I can get a 10% cut. If this whole thing's just going to become the clear fraud that it is, why don't we all just get in on it?
Y'all heard that shit? Did y'all hear that jealous motherfucker trying to speak on FBA reparations? Don't be mad. Don't be mad. I know what you're doing. See, you got your race brother from across the pond, and he sees over here that they cannot contain foundational black Americans. And they understand that the whole world watches what FBA does, and then they follow. So they don't want the energy of us traveling to the black folks over there. So he got off of his goddamn couch, or wherever the fuck he's at, and he got to the nearest microphone on the nearest camera and said, let me try to run interference. Why do you have a guy in the United Kingdom talking about foundational black Americans who built the United States? Why? Why does it concern you? You got your own hands full with all the shit you got going on over there. That lets you know that we are the influence. When I say that the black grassroots is influential, and I say it on every episode, that right there proves my point a trillion times. We are the most influential lineage on the planet, and I'm not just talking about singing and dancing. I'm talking about geopolitical, worldly, international news. On this episode, we're going to break down all of the geopolitical ramifications of our reparations claim. Yes, the geopolitical ramifications of our reparations claim. We're going to break it all down because when you speak about reparations, you're starting to hear it come from Europe. You're starting to hear them in the Ukraine. You're starting to hear them talk about it in Africa, all over the world. Our reparations claim is sending shockwaves throughout the planet because people know not only are foundational black Americans a threat to the dominant society in the system of supremacy, foundational black Americans are also a threat to every little puppet and every minion who works for the dominant society in supremacy. And they all do not want their local black folks seeing what we do. The same way every other person across the diaspora, across the world sits back and they see the way we dress and they want to dress like us. They see the way we act and want to act like us. All their women want to be our women. All their men want to be our men. They also understand that the world operates like this. When FBA does it, everybody else wants to try it. So Mr. UK, he got that supremacist phone call on the supremacist hotline. The number is 1-900-LICE with the extension of 188 methamphetamine. And if you want to reach Manchester, England, it's 188 fentanyl, which clearly he's addicted to. But all the fentanyl in the world will not stop you from having to deal with foundational black Americans are going to get that check. So you can take that international hatred, that international jealousy, that international fear, and you can sit your ass down in Buckingham Palace and have some tea and a smile because we get to it. So family, you see the interference all across the board, international. You got folks out here cosplaying us, folks out here mimicking us, people out here having reenactments, every goddamn thing. Because I told y'all, we have reached the desperation stage. When you are in the desperation stage, the ops start acting desperate. And that's what's happening. Y'all don't believe a motherfucker from the UK just happened to show up, right? And start talking about our reparations. Somebody had to ask him that question. And that was something they already had on the line before they even went into the conversation. And they're having it right here in America as well. They're having little talk shows and it's popping up everywhere.
About the royal family paying reparations, remember this?
Yes.
She was like, yeah, that's fine, but you have to go back to the beginning of the supply chain. And that is in Africa, with African kings rounding up their own people and selling them for money. So do the families of those people have to pay? And then what about the people who died to abolish slavery? Do they get money too? The other thing also is what happens when the government gives people money like this? They don't work.
They're throwing darts, but the darts is hitting the fucking wall, they're hitting the roof, they're hitting the floor. It's hitting everything except for the motherfucking target. Because we too fast, we too smooth, and we too fly. This movement is moving faster than they can even keep up. They want us to go slow. They want us to slow down. I tell you, supremacy don't mind waiting you out. Supremacy has hundreds of years. They will wait us out from the next generation to the next generation to the next generation. And since we got on code and certified, we understood that's exactly what they're trying to do. So therefore we said, no, we're going to hit pedal to the metal. High speed. Because if you ain't building today, you ain't building tomorrow. And we've understood that. We've also understood that living the best lives for ourselves means our children will live the best lives for themselves. No more I struggle and my kids will live better. See, that mentality, whoever the fuck believed that was a fool. How the hell can your kids have a better life if you struggle? Nobody else believes that on the planet Earth. Nobody else was running around saying, I will struggle, I will suffer, I will take less, I will take crumbs because my kids will have a full plate. Let me tell you something. If you eat crumbs for your whole life, your kids are going to eat crumbs for their whole lives. Everybody else understood. You have to leave your kids generational wealth. You have to leave your kids finances, money. You got to leave your kids something that they can build on. You can't leave your kids suffering. You can't leave your kids the struggle and expect them to flip it. And that's the mistake that generation after generation after generation made. And a lot of motherfuckers made it willingly because they didn't want to step to that plate and make demands. This generation, on code as ever, we said, fuck that. We are not going to struggle so our kids live better. We're going to live great and they're going to live even greater. You see the difference in mentality, and that's the difference in approach. And we took that same mentality with our reparations claim, and that's why we're moving so fast. So once you remove the negative, weak, beta energy, and you replace it with strong, powerful, alpha energy, things get done, haters get desperate, and we get to the motherfucking bag. Yes. Y'all smash that like button and make sure you subscribe to the Black Alpha Network where we go in, because that is the only way to go. And when we speak about the only way to go, the only way for us to go is to go straight to the bank and go get it. There's no stops in between. We're not sitting here, let's stop here for 20 years. Let's stop here for another 5. I'm going to wait 3 over here, and then we'll get to the reparations check when we all 80. Let me say this, family, and I got to say this real clear. And I know y'all going to feel me because this is the family right here, and we are all on the same page. That quote where I believe we'll get reparations in my lifetime, cancel it. Done. I never accepted that term. Fuck that term, as a matter of fact. I don't do the in my lifetime thing. All right. That is not the goal. I'm not trying to say, well, I'll get some money in my lifetime, or I'm going to eat dinner in my lifetime. Imagine if you took that in my lifetime approach with every single thing in your life. Well, hopefully my kids graduate in my lifetime. Hopefully I'm a good husband in my lifetime. Hopefully we see better days in our lifetime. Fuck that. We ain't worrying about in our lifetime. We gonna see it right now, or we gonna tear this motherfucker up. And that's how you get to where you going. Not by hoping a lifetime. You understand saying you hope some shit happens in your lifetime? You understand how far you feel you're away from something? We are not that far from getting everything we want, family. As a matter of fact, we already have everything. We just gotta go collect the shit motherfuckers don't wanna give. And that's when we get to snatching shit out their hand. When you got the I'm gonna take it from you if you don't want to give it mentality, all that in my lifetime shit is gone. In my lifetime sounds a lot like we will be free one day. Keep your eyes on the prize, hold on. You notice all those old outdated terms have some type of elongated 200-year lifespan. The timeline is always 100 fucking years. Like this shit is on the shelf and it's just spoiling away and we just waiting and it's got all this days and hours and seconds before it becomes even elevated. Man, fuck that. We don't need to have an 100-year plan for some shit we can get today. When we can get the money right now, we getting the money right now. We don't have time to waste. It's too much money to make. Keep your eyes on the prize. We will be free one day in my lifetime. Don't fit into my motherfucking reparations plan. And I know it don't fit into yours. So we canceling all that. I don't want to hear anybody else say that. Everyone knows on the Black Alpha Network, I'm all about peace, power, and deliver. First you get the peace, then you get the power, and then you deliver on their ass. And that's exactly what we've been doing, step for step. And we are on the right path. And this path ain't no path where we gonna go old and gray. This path is some shit. All we got to do is go pick up the money. Matter of fact, we ain't even got to pick it up. All we got to do is walk to our mailbox. And if you don't want to walk to your mailbox, look at your bank transaction because that shit gonna be deposited. You feel me? A deposit don't take 200 years, family. Nope. That check in the mail don't take 300 years, family. Nope. All that shit is a swipe of a card. And you got it and we got it. So we on that motherfucking game. And everybody's seeing it. Everybody's doing it. So the reason why we've moved so far is because we have got rid of those elongated, defeated mentalities, those defeated quotes and all of that shit. And we've got more specific and we've got more timely. Those are all right now quotes. Those are all right now statements. Those are all right now empowerment. And that's what we're all on, is empowerment today. And like I said, we're trying to live greater every second. So this is why we've taken off so far. This is why we went so high. And this is why we're going to get to our destiny, is because of our mentality. When you change that mentality, then you change your results. And we see the results coming in. And if you ever want to see the results coming in, look at who's hating on you. The motherfuckers who's smiling and who's happy, they only do that when you're not winning. When all the ops are mad, oh, you getting it. Oh yeah, we making ops mad. You could always tell your success by looking at your ops. Oh yeah, yes indeed. Achievement is victory. The best revenge is success. And we're having a lot of success right now. That's why these motherfuckers is all big mad. You got folks who were claiming to be reparationists and they get mad. They running interference. We understand the motherfucker from the UK is upset because we are getting reparations and all he has is the UK version of a meth pipe. But that's his motherfucking problem. That's him and his meth pipe problem, okay? We understand why Mr. T and Crumpets is mad. We understand why Mr. Lambamba is mad because he can't do shit on his own anyway. Only thing he can do is get up and act like he FBA and get his resources stolen. We get all that. Now you starting to see groups that claimed they were reparationists, ADOS, out here throwing hissy fits because the reparations movement has took off without they ass. So were they really ever reparationists? Strappy and Tone Babble are out here openly going against reparations, family. Yes, they are talking down on it. Talking down, they mad. First off, they're mad is because their little organization, their little hidden Democratic Shield organization has been exposed and outed. That shit has all been compromised. So they got upset that the people did not choose their little group, that the people did not choose a little team, and we moved on past them. They got upset that they got exposed for who they really were, and Democratic Shields are what they are. They got real upset at all that. So this is where the bullshit started to fester. The jealousy started to fester. Just going around blocking people. They were blocking anybody with FBA in their tag. You feel me? You know you's a jealous motherfucker when you're doing shit like that. They was pissed off. And that's good because we keep the haters mad. And when you stay doing good and the haters get mad, then the haters expose themselves so we can keep the haters out the paint. We ain't got to run them out the paint because they don't even come in the paint because they done out fucking jealous themselves. And that's what ADOS has done. And remember, ADOS stands for American Democrats of Slavery, because they are slaves to the Democratic Party. And they thought they were going to run that I'm a Democratic shield in disguise shit. You feel me? Like we weren't going to get on there. I'm telling you, man, we on code. That's why you have this. I don't give a fuck who's running around saying they're a descendant of this or a descendant of that. This is all about that certified 100. If you are in that circle of the certified, then you got it made. If you are on the outside of that, then you are a counterfeit. I don't give a damn what the name of your group is. I don't give a damn what the name of your ideology is. We are a lineage. And when you are lineage based, lineage strong, and lineage empowered, you cancel out all the riffraffs. And ADOS is right there at the top of the list. So you can add ADOS to the NFAC, to the BLMs, to the STTs, or whatever the fuck they are. You can add all of them up. And those are people who have not contributed to the reparations movement. They just been making a lot of noise. And we all know what happens when you make a lot of noise. Eventually, a certified is going to come and put their ass on mute. And we done put all their ass on mute. And that's what you got to do, family. If somebody's talking bullshit and it makes no sense, they run the interference or they just babbling, put their ass on mute. Shut them down. It's like your phone, all right? When you can mute a motherfucker, you can mute the notifications. You can just cancel them, block them, get them out the fucking paint, delete them, whatever. Do it. Because we don't have no time for any of that. Because y'all know a lot of motherfuckers just like to talk. They just want to come to that microphone and say, I believe that we don't really need reparations. We need the North Star on the winter solstice to shine down on us. I need that before we want money. You know what I'm talking about? Matter of fact, god damn it, family. Did y'all see these goddamn Moors and these Hotep brothers showing up to these reparations panels and just fucking babbling? Talking about we don't want no money. We need gold and silver. We want the minerals of the Egyptian pyramids back. I mean, what the fuck? This is the shit I'm talking about. Let me tell you like this, and this is right here, this Black Alpha Network. We represent your average, everyday, proletarian, foundational, Black American, certified American freedmen. If your ideology is we all come from Egypt, if your ideology is we come from the pyramids, if your ideology is we come from the Mojave Desert, good for you. None of that shit affects my reparations, okay? Family, we represent the working class, man. Think about FBA. See, the thing about foundational Black Americans is that we are just regular Black. We exceptional, but we regular Black. All of these additives and extras, that's fine and dandy in your house. If you get on your knees and you put a cloak on and you pray to the North Star 17 times a day, good for you. If your ass lights 3 candles, does the motherfucking James Brown splits, gets up and does a bow, good for you. If your ass sprinkles salt all across your fucking house and does the Macarena in that motherfucker, fine, good for you. But do that shit in your own motherfucking comfort. Don't bring that shit to my reparations panel. So all of these extraterrestrial fucking groups that want to come in and extraterrestrial our fucking reparations, please, family. God damn. You got folks who try to POC our reparations. You got folks who try to Africanize our reparations. Now motherfuckers is trying to extraterrestrial our reparations. Next thing you know, they gonna say motherfuckers from Mars need to get a check. Keep that shit in your house. Because not all black folks on that, and we about everyday working class black Americans who are out here trying to get it. That's what we represent. See, our lineage comes from the mud. We understand how to get it. We loyal to the soil. Our grandparents were working hard, coming home, putting food on the table, facing racism every goddamn day. Our ancestors were out there in the fields picking cotton every goddamn day. All of your Mojave deserts and all your Egyptian pyramids didn't do a motherfucking thing to free my ancestors. It didn't do a motherfucking thing to put food on the table in the 1960s and 70s when my grandparents was out there putting in that work. Let me ask y'all a question, because y'all know this is a family affair. Let me ask the family. Would your parents care more about who built the pyramids in Egypt or a reparations check? Okay. Would your parents care more about the third constellation in the northern hemisphere on the west side or about getting a reparations check for American freedmen? One more question, family. I just got one more question I gotta ask. I already know the answers, but I gotta ask anyway, so I got one more question. Would your parents care more about getting a reparations check? And not just your parents, but your grandparents, your parents, your aunts, your uncles. Would your family care more about getting a reparations check or being acknowledged as the true righteous tribe of Harry Potter? I think they want the reparations check, as we all do, because that's what's important and that's what belongs to us. So I'm gonna tell you like this, keep that shit at home. And you're starting to see this infiltration of these type of groups. And family, I got my pointy finger ready, the mute button. I can't hit that motherfucker quick enough. If I see anybody out here with a big ass goddamn red cup hat on their motherfucking head, I ain't listening. I'm telling you now, if you come around this motherfucker with a cloak on at a reparations panel, I ain't listening. If you come in this motherfucker dressed like a wizard from Harry Potter talking about reparative justice, I ain't listening. All right, hands down. I'm from the motherfucking get it how you live era. The Black Panthers had leather coats, big afros, spoke regular black English. Fuck all that extra shit. You need to go get your reparations from the Nile Valley, all right? We gonna get ours in the United States because this is what we built. And that's the thing right there. We out here trying to get reparations because we built America. These motherfuckers is out here talking about we built the pyramids. What the fuck that got to do with my check? You out here talking about the 32 constellations in the month of December. What the fuck that got to do with my check? Because family, when that reparations check is written, it's not gonna be written because you dress like you from the Lord of the Rings. It's gonna be written because our ancestors built this country. So that's the premise and that's the base that we got to stay on, and we got to stay around all of this babble shit like this.
I think the reparations should be as follows. It's to be gifted to us with gold and silver bullion to, as I said before, my antebellum slaves and ancestors and their heirs. It should be measured in the amount of 1 troy ounce of gold.
And one more thing, family. We gotta not allow the dominant society to put a bunch of off-coded black folks on these panels. Have a bunch of off-coded black folks get in the microphone to speak. Y'all know if they can't put a POC or a minority there, they gonna go get the most ignorant black person they can find. They gonna go get Little Uzi Vert. They gonna go get Kodak Black, NBA Youngboy, people they know don't know shit about reparations, people who are not articulate, people who cannot finish a sentence, people who cannot speak properly, and they gonna go get them. Or they gonna go get one of these wizards. Watch out for the infiltration of a bunch of off-coded people who have no business being on the panel. Who they do not want on the panel is you, me, Certified 100. They don't want none of us Certified 100 on that stage. They don't want none of us Certified 100 with that microphone. Trust me, if you are in the Certified 100, they're going to try to keep you far away from the microphone. They're going to try to keep you far away from the stage. They say, we don't want that Certified 100. Go get me Captain Xandar from the Moorish Temple so he can come in here and talk about a bunch of pixie dust and shit. I'm telling you, we got to make sure it's not only the plants from the dominant society, it's not the plants from the minorities. We got to also make sure it's not a plant of these off-coded, ignorant, babbling ass smuts. What the fuck was that? Family, I don't know if that was a reparations discussion about foundational black American freedmen or if that shit came straight off of Star Wars. God damn, E.T. phone home, motherfucker. Just get the fuck out my reparations conversation. God damn. So yeah, man, we gotta leave all that mystical ass shit alone because that does not serve us. Even if you found out tomorrow that you a descendant of Jupiter, that doesn't get my descendant of American freedman ass a check. So check yourself the fuck out. Goddamn, that shit funny. Boy, when you start talking money, you start talking numbers, man, everybody comes out. We've been saying that shit for a long time, family. Haven't we all? Haven't we all had those discussions in every live chat? Don't we always talk about how reparations just makes motherfuckers act crazy? You start talking about reparations money for foundational black Americans and you start seeing motherfuckers that was under rocks. People that ain't been seen in 35 years come out from underneath the fucking boulder, dust themselves off, jump out the dumpster, somehow find a fucking way into a reparations conversation. I don't care if it's a goddamn task force, if it's a panel, if it's at a dinner table, if it's at a lunch table, if it's at a Domino's table. You start talking reparations and some motherfucker gonna weasel in talking about gods of Egypt, Battlestar Galactica, ancient aliens. That's why you gotta mute them, because they gonna come out and say some ridiculous shit. Motherfuckers is out there saying, we don't want the money, we want them to return all the moon rocks from the moon landing in 1965. We don't want the money. We want them to return all the stolen vibranium from Wakanda and the immediate release of Killmonger, our political prisoner. That's a fucking movie. It ain't real. Take the motherfucking red cup off your head in the wizard dress and go get you some fucking white tees and some sneakers. God damn, there ain't nothing wrong with being regular black. You can be regular black and exceptional. All right? Wakanda ain't real. Lord of the Rings ain't real. Harry Potter ain't real. But reparations is. God damn. I'm a foundational black American. These motherfuckers is foundational Saturn Americans. They done brought space into the reparations conversation. God damn. We talking about America, not the fucking Twilight Zone. Captain Xandar from the Wizard Tribe. Go read a Bible and go yell at folks on the corner for an hour. Go have a 30-year debate. I'm gonna go get this money for 400 plus. We on one. We don't give a fuck. Hey, what need to be said, gonna be said, and it's gonna be said loud and clear, the certified style. So yeah, family, that's what it is. I don't put nothing past them. I see them clear as day. They don't fool me. One thing about Black Alpha Network, the dominant society don't trick bag me, they don't con me, they don't scam me. I already expect them to be on that bullshit. So when they come on that bullshit, we frame the bullshit and then we expose the bullshit. That's the best way to be, and that's how our whole family is. You ain't gonna get that shit past us. Oh no, it ain't no walk in the park on this side. Hell no. Certified Black Society, we hold down the fort and we push the line, and you can only do that by being thorough, and we are all thorough. But it all goes back to identification and not allowing people to tell you who you are. Once we started telling the world who we were and quit letting the world dictate to us, that's when everything did a U-turn. And this is the new norm, here to stay. So as they try to make everything blurry, everything murky, you don't understand it, it's confusing, we gonna see past all that shit because we've been seeing past it. As they try to Africanize our struggle, as they try to Africanize our reparations, we know exactly why they're trying to do that. And all that does is give us even more fuel to stay on the path in which we're on. And the path that we're on is the path of them cutting that check. And we're gonna get it by peace, power, and deliver. Certified salute. Yes, indeed. But family, we done broke it down today in every aspect. How long? Boy, this is about the longest Black AlphaCast. I salute everybody for the pull up. You know I appreciate the tap in. This had to be broke down because there's a lot of nuances and a lot of trickery going on. And y'all know one thing we do. We strategize and we mobilize. There's nothing that gets past us. If they try to pull one little thing for 1 second, we done called that shit out before they even thought of it. And that's why we're moving the needle. And that's why we're going far with our movement right now. When I say our, I mean our movement. This doesn't include any off code. It does not include any coon, any counterfeit. This is Black grassroots created, Black grassroots sponsored, Black grassroots made. And I would not have it any other way. And I wouldn't want to do this with anybody else other than our certified 100, aka the foundational Black American family tree. All of us. So you guys know I thank you very much. As I said, I appreciate everybody who supports the Cash App, who supports the Black Alpha Network, and who just comes to hang out. Because y'all know, when we drop, whether it's a Twitter space, an AlphaCast Certified Live, it's like a big ass block party. It is. All of our Twitter spaces, I want everybody to come on up and talk because it's a family gathering and you're amongst family. You can say what you want to say, you can speak what you want to speak, get it off your chest, and let's just top game and talk. Let's Chop Game and Talk, because that's what it is. We love each other. We one big family tree, and we move together. So as much love as we put out there in the world, that's as far as we go. And our communication stays strong, just like our reparations game stays strong. And that's why everybody's shook and everybody's scared, and we're going to keep them that way. How are we going to keep them that way? Simply, 2 words: by being on code. And that's exactly what we are. So keep your eyes on everything going down. This has been a great Black AlphaCast, very productive, very strong. It was good to break down all the nuances and see past all the lies, but it's also great to empower ourselves by calling people out and empower ourselves by getting straight to the facts. And y'all know we give out truth checks, fact checks, and reality checks, and we do it with that Freedman style. Yes, indeed. Y'all stay safe, stay good, stay vigilant, stay locked in, because we coming with more heat. Yes, we do. We got something lined up, big fire. So we're going to finish strong, as we say. We're going to look good in the process, and foundational Black Americans will always rise. But when we rise together. So with that said, I want you guys to remember and tell the whole world loud and proud that Black is beautiful, and beautiful is always Black. One love.